pass the football. You have Jimmy Martin, starting quarterback. Use that to your advantage. Use his skill he has. Air the ball out. And I think another key, too, is to keep the defense off the field, to be able to extend those offensive drives, keep the defense healthy and rested on the bench.
And there's Martin to Brian Doherty. He's going to get a gain of about 11, and he's going to have a first down for Prospect. Good start from the Prospect offense. They did not pass it a lot last week against Buffalo Grove. That was a question we had on Prospect Football Weekly. Very conservative play calling from head coach Dan DeBuff. In that case, in a game where you're still in it, very interesting decision as Jimmy's going to take a draw up the middle. That's going nowhere. There's going to be a flag on the field.
Right, and
let's see what that's going to be on.
As we talked about on Prospect Football Weekly, Jimmy said, too, that part of the reason was because of the weather. As we know, it was pretty bad conditions down there. You and I were both on the sideline last week, and
it was
towards the start of the second half, we started seeing some thunder and some lightning. It was pretty questionable why the game wasn't postponed. Still to this day, we don't have any answers.
I think that it does help. Whether maybe it would have helped the postponement, but in that case, you just got to follow the decision.
Right.
And you just move on from there. But if you're at home watching on your heating devices, we don't blame you. It's 40 degrees. There's cloudy sky. It's a cold night. Jimmy's going to throw it. Here's a catch by Matt Meyer. And Meyer's going to get to about the 41-yard line, 42-yard line.
Like we talked about a little bit, when we give Jimmy the opportunity to stay back in the pocket, kind of survey his scene, and then be able to air it out to a guy, a big wide receiver and a big target he has in Matt Meyer, they're able to make some plays and get this offense moving.
Absolutely. And now it's an up-tempo offense that they've been doing a lot this year. Jimmy's going to hand it off. This is Michael Schaffis who's going to start the drive at running back. Where he goes, and there's going to be a flag on the field. Let's see whether this run is going to stand.
Schaffis in his third year.
Against Prospect. It is not
Schaffis in his third year on this varsity team still to this day is a crucial. He's one of the biggest parts of this offense still.
Yeah, what a hot start he had. Entering the season against St. Barbara and continued it against Deerfield. He is a touchdown machine. You give him the football.
Absolutely.
He is going to, it seems like every play he's going to score, and that's going to be a hold against Prospect. Second holding penalty on this opening drive for Prospect. Penalties, they're always key. I think last week against Buffalo Grove, there weren't many called penalties. It didn't feel like. It just seemed like Buffalo Grove they just outplayed
Just in every aspect of the game, it really just felt like from the start that Buffalo Grove was really in control of that game.
I think it's been the last 3 weeks, too, because you also consider that the last broadcast we saw you all in was the game against Hersey. And even then, that was not a pretty outcome for Prospect. So it seems like their last complete game might have came against Deerfield. And there is Schaffis again. He's going to get about 6, maybe 7. And
another flag on the play.
We have another flag. Let's see. This might be on Wheeling. We'll see. According to the Prospect parents, it might be on Prospect. Tyson Splinter just left the field, number 85.
We've talked about, too, the importance of was against Wheeling this time, but for both sides, penalties, careless mistakes, and then, too many of those, and you can set yourself back 10, 15 yards. You've put yourself in a hole that you wouldn't be able to get out of sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and I think Prospect, it's not about getting that hole. They were in holes these last couple of games.
Right.
And I get you're playing 8-0 Hersey, 8-0 Rolling Meadows. As Michael Schaffis, there he goes outside, and he's going to be tackled at about the 16-yard line.
Wow.
That is a great run from Schaffis. Tackle made by Daniel Provost, and Michael Best joined him. We'll be seeing Michael Best a lot on offense as he will be throwing the pigskin for Wheeling. It's going to be a first down inside the red zone for Prospect.
Jimmy in the shotgun now. Maybe look for a chance for him to use his arm, throw out the ball to some of his wideouts.
Yeah, this is a 5-wide set, so it looks like he's going to be throwing. Careful for a man in motion here. It looks like as head coach looks like it's Dan DeBuff who's signaling something as Jimmy's going to go outside the pocket. And he's just got to run up front, maybe a gain of 2 or 3.
Surveyed his options, didn't really have anyone open. Smart play by Jimmy not to make a dangerous throw, especially this early in the game, and just try to keep it and get a few yards.
Absolutely. A lot of good games going in the MSL East tonight. The game of the year, I think, is Rolling Meadows and Hersey. That's going to be played at Rolling Meadows. So much coverage on that game. That is a very good reason for it. Very, very good reason.
Absolutely.
Saw them a couple weeks ago. Rolling Meadows, my goodness, they were as
Feels like the winner of that game. Teams are both 7-0 right now. The winner
8-0.
of 8-0, excuse me.
7-0. Excuse me. One of them's gonna be 8-0. There's Shafis, and he is gonna push his way to about the 1 yard line.
Just fighting for those extra yards, carrying Wheeling defenders with him.
He
Very
used
impressive.
all that 6'1" strength on that run, Connor, and it's gonna be first and goal from about the 1, and be careful for a QB sneak here
That's what
from
I'm
Jimmy.
thinking.
And there it is.
There it is.
Jimmy Martin is
He's
in.
got it.
He crossed the goal line. Touchdown, Prospect. A good start for the Prospect offense. They get on the board first.
Fantastic opening drive from the Prospect Knights. Really all led by Michael Shafis and his down-to-earth, his nitty-gritty, his just, burning and churning kind of running. He fights for those extra yards, those yards after contact. That's where he excels.
This might be this is different. A different start from Dan DeBuff. Usually you see Luke Zarza, number 24, in for Prospect. He's going straight with Schaff. It's a very interesting decision. And what could this be? And it looks like an interesting formation until Gary Moeller gets down and is going to hold for Tony Santangelo. Field goal, extra point. That is not a field goal. And Santangelo's kick almost was blocked. Kick is good.
Fellow member of the Prospector, Tony Santangelo, puts the Knights up 7-0.
Good start for the Prospect offense. Michael Schaff is also having a very good start, like it seems like he does every week. He's already halfway to 100. 4 carries, 62 yards.
Wow.
So a good start for 29 in blue. And let's see what the team in white can do on their opening drive.
We talked a little bit about Prospect keys to the game. I think if we see Wheeling's side of the game, key is to have a fresh start. After
Just
coming off a game
out.
against Rolling Meadows, losing 42-0, just playing in the first half because of weather conditions. A loss like that, you really don't learn much. You just kind of want to erase it, go past it, act like it didn't happen, and move on.
You might not be able to see this, but it looks like the Prospect football staff has installed a television on their sideline so they can watch film. And head coach Dan DeBuff, it looks like he's instructing his offensive line and crew. Matt Weber also joining alongside him.
Could be watching film, or they could just be watching TV show together.
We saw that with Hersey a couple weeks ago when they had that TV as well. Rolling Meadows has a TV. It seems like it's becoming the new hip trend around the MSL East football
Or
programs.
they could be watching Game 1 of the NLCS too. If we wanted to give our fans who are watching this, the Dodgers are up 1-0 in the top of the second inning.
Connor, I'm sure you're thrilled. That ball gets passed. He's got to get the football or else Prospect could recover that fumble. And he's going to land on it at about the 23-yard line. So that is where Wheeling is going to start their first drive. The Wheeling Wildcats. I think an interesting story they've been this year. They had that huge comeback win against Vernon Hills where Michael Best was named the Chicago Bears High School Player of the Week. What a comeback that was for the Wheeling Wildcats. Then they had 3 straight wins, and then their last win came at home against Buffalo Grove. That was an awesome football game to watch, and then I think then a killer loss to Elk Grove, who finally snapped that long losing streak that we've been talking about, it seems like, for a while now, as Best is going to hand it off to Pegnaban. Penganaban is going to get a first down. He's a quick runner.
He really is. You saw, he found that hole within the defensive line and really ran with it and was able to get some extra yards.
And a good start here for the Wheeling offense. They're also running up tempo under Brian Huck. And a 1st and 10 from the 39, 8:58 left in the first. It is a 7-0 Prospect lead. It seems like a very, very quiet George Gaddis Memorial Stadium on a 40-degree night at the beginning of October. And Ganaban is going to get a gain of about 2. And it's going to be a 2nd and 8 for Wheeling.
Wyatt, after a game like Buffalo Grove last week, what do you think is most important for this defensive squad? What do you think they need to do best?
Just try and stay off the field as much as possible. I know they love playing this game, but as a defensive player, do you really want to be on the field?
That's true.
That is, as Best is going to go outside the pocket. He's a big kid, and he's going to maybe back to the line of scrimmage.
It's a great job by the Knights defensive line too, putting Best under some serious pressure and him having to try to run around and try to make a play.
And here's the thing: this is the season for both teams right here. This game right here is going to determine whether they're going to have a shot at making the playoffs.
Really, in a way, this is a playoff game for them.
This is basically like a tiebreaker. Who is going to get the advantage next week? Almost a jump from Prospect. As next week, Wheeling has a very daunting matchup with the Hersey Huskies, and that's going to be at Hersey. And then Prospect will take on the Grenadiers of Elk Grove, who this Wheeling team lost to 38-21 at Elk Grove. Elk Grove's a very improved football team. There's a throw from Best, and that is incomplete, and a penalty flag down. And it looks like there is going to be on Prospect. Adam Ryerson, Zach Zai, Gary Moeller in the area. Let's see if that is going to be. It's either a hold or pass interference. It's one of the two, and it likely will extend this Wheeling drive.
Defensive holding a call against the Knights.
There you go, and that's going to extend the Wheeling drive. Can't give up penalties.
No.
Especially with a guy like Michael Best, who you need to keep off the scoreboard.
You need to keep Michael Best. You cannot have the football in his hands for as long as you can control it.
That's why keeping pressure is also crucial in a match like this. You don't want to give him that much time. And I think that's something that Brian Huck talked about in his preview this year. This is a very young offensive line. This is a very young offensive line. They had a really good offensive line last year in the past couple of years when they made the state playoffs under Brent Perlman, as this pass is overthrown by Best. Intended for number 22, J.P. Smith. And it's going to bring up a 2nd and 10.
Just under 7 minutes and 30 seconds or so to go in the first quarter. The score is Prospect 7, Wheeling 0. Prospect with a great addition from Michael Chaffis is able to score on their opening drive. We'll see if Wheeling can do the same.
Good quarterback run from Jimmy Martin. Good little QB sneak to get him in the end zone. I think that the word to describe Wheeling is just, they've been very interesting.
Really?
They beat a very tough Buffalo Grove team at home.
Mm-hmm.
And just think, if Tom Treba of Buffalo Grove was healthy, as Best is going to keep it a bit and get a yard, we could have 7+ win teams in this conference.
Definitely, and then I think the chance for 4 MSL East teams to make the playoffs is looking very, very, very good. You've got 7-0 Hersey and Rolling Meadows, who are both pretty much guarantees to make the playoffs.
They are guarantees. They will be in the playoffs.
And you've got 4-3 Buffalo Grove, 3-4 Prospect. Both are trying to look, to fight for those last extra spots. So it could be a very strong MSL East going into the playoffs.
You're going to have a 9-0 MSL East team and then an 8-1 MSL East team in all likelihood. And here is the handoff to Venganaban, and he is going to get the first down on a 3rd down run.
Great tackle by.
Great job there from Wheeling. Keep this drive going, and Prospect's got to apply pressure here into this running attack.
Great tackle from Michael Seaman to try to contain the damage as best he could.
Damage was good enough, though, for Wheeling, as that's going to be a first down from the 33-yard line, a 14-yard gain. And now it looks like Prospect is trying to get into position under defensive coordinator Brock Collins. That's just going to go into the shotgun. He's going to throw deep down the field. This is a good-looking throw, and it's incomplete.
Wow.
Looks like it was intended for Daniel Provost.
Great chance from Best right there. Really great pass, stood in the pocket, great throw.
That's a great throw. That's when you got to come down with good coverage there, though.
You put it exactly where the receiver wants it, right over your left shoulder, fall right into your hands.
Fall right in. And then you have a 1st and goal from the 1. But I think that's what Prospect also has to do. They got to take more shots down the field. Wheeling is not afraid with a second-year quarterback.
And I think especially in this situation, too, this is a do-or-die game. If you lose this game, there is no playoffs. So I think you take every chance you can get.
And the only reason you're showing up next week is for pride, as Best is going to get a gain of about 3 or 4. Jack Friedrichs on the tackle. It's a 3rd and 7 here for Wheeling after that long incompletion from Best to Provost. Likely 4-down territory here for Wheeling, because
I think so.
I don't think you're kicking a field goal in this weather right now.
No.
From this distance, his best throw is going to be incomplete. Good coverage there from number 5, Jack Kasmer. Pass is intended for Ryan Glassberg, number 20.
One advantage Prospect's had this year is a pretty strong defensive back. You've got senior Joey Ezek, senior Jack Kasmer. They've made some pretty big plays this year when they've had to step up.
And we're also not mentioning Gary Moeller, who.
That's true. That's true.
And I think he might be making his audition to remain on this defense next year, because he also played quarterback for the freshman team last year. I'm sure Brock Collins, the defensive coordinator, will talk to head coach Dan DeBuff and the offensive staff saying, hey, look at his numbers on the defense this
We
year.
need this kid here.
Best is going to run. He is a large human being, and he is going to get near the first down. I think he's got it on a 4th down run, and they're going to give it to him, and it's going to be a first down for Wheeling.
It's one of the things the Knights need to contain. A 4th and 7 should be a stop play. You shouldn't be able to get that off a QB sneak. You really have to tighten up the defense.
And there is going to be a handoff to Benganaban. And he's going to get a gain of about 2. It's going to be a 2nd and 8. On a 4th and 7 and a QB run, it seemed like everything was just done for Wheeling. And Michael Best using his very, 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 very talented playmaking abilities. He got that first down. Wheeling is 3 and 4, just like these Prospect Knights. They've beaten Maine East, Vernon Hills, and Buffalo Grove. They've lost to Glenbrook North, a good Glenbrook North. Not too bad Glenbrook North team, but pretty good Schaumburg team. Schaumburg with Hayes Trotter out there. They lost to Elk Grove, and then they lost to, it seems like just the powerhouse system of Rolling Meadows and Panganaban.
So really, kind of go to touch what you backed on. It's really surprising. This is the same team that went 2 and 7 last year. They've had definitely some surprise upsets, and it almost raises the question: are these upsets? Is Wheeling that good of a team?
It obviously raises the question. But I think you can also mention the improvement of Elk Grove.
That's true.
Loss. They are a much improved football team. The last year, Miles Osei, who we'll see next week, Prospect alum. We'll see him next week coaching the Grenadiers here. Best's throw, and it's going to be incomplete. He dropped the football at the end.
Pass intended to wide receiver J.P. Smith.
Yes, Smith could not bring it in. That's the second drop here on this drive. One of them could have had a 1st and goal from about the 2-yard line.
Another 4th down and 5. That's a solid 4th down. This is going to be really big for this Knights defense to try to come up with a stop and really take control of this game.
This is 4-down territory. It is 40 degrees, and that football to kick is going to feel like almost 6 bricks attacked onto each other, and put them with cement on it. That's what it's going to feel like. It's not going to be easy tonight kicking the football from any distance, as the loud. Now there's some sound as we hear the parents banging on the bleachers. Panganaban is going to get a first down on another 4th down, a second 4th down conversion. This defense has got to find a way to adjust it.
This Wheeling offense, too, you really have to hand them credit for, 2 daunting 4th downs and being able to convert. Just keep extending that drive.
And both on running plays, which shows the aggressiveness of the play calling from Brian Huck and company. Obviously, stay tuned for the Outback Player of the Game later tonight. Also a performance from the wonderful Prospect Marching Knights at halftime. I'd like to thank our sponsors tonight, Outback Steakhouse in Mount Prospect, as well as Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Prospect. Into those places after the game tonight. And there's Panganaban, and he is going to maybe get a yard or so. It's about this. So he's going to get maybe a little more than that. Get a 3. Seemed like you just lost him into a crowd, and he gets 3 yards on the play. Prospect's defense, they get these long drives do not help. You do not think so. Obviously, stay tuned for tonight's post-game story, written by Mr. Connor Graver, who is.
I will be.
It's going to be a long night for you, Connor.
It will be, but I wouldn't change it for a thing.
I know. Next week, stay tuned for our broadcast. We broadcast the Elk Grove game, which maybe, and there's Panganaban. He's going to cross the goal line for a Wheeling touchdown. A great start here from the Wheeling Wildcats.
And now I think the most important question is, sure, the defense gave up that score, but how will the offense respond? We saw that against Buffalo Grove. Prospect scored early, going up 7-0. Wasn't able to score till the 4th quarter, I believe.
They didn't score for the rest of the game.
The rest of the game. And Wheeling Buffalo Grove just ran up the scoreboard. So it's really important to see how will they respond to this adversity.
Michael Best is it seems like he's doing everything for the Wheeling Wildcats. Brandon Zedek is on the hold, a wide receiver, and Panganaban has had a pretty good day. 8 rushes, 54 yards, and that touchdown run. So a good start for the Wheeling Wildcats on offense. Good start for both offenses. Let's see what Prospect can do to answer that. And as you talked about how Prospect did not get anything going after that first drive, because it was the first drive, that was it. That was pretty much it. And Buffalo Grove it was just all them. And obviously the weather conditions don't help. And it's a Rolling Meadows 43-yard touchdown from Jace O'Hara. That puts them up 7-0 against the very talented Hersey Husky football team. It seems like Rolling Meadows just has an influx of running backs from Tim Sislak, who is just a
Tim
massive
Sislak has
human
been
being.
having a year through 7 weeks,
over
1,000
1,000
rushing yards,
yeah.
16 rushing touchdowns. Very, very impressive.
I think that offense as a whole, Matt Mishler and company, they just do everything right.
Absolutely.
And it seems like no matter who they lose every year, after Asher O'Hara, Arik Kleniak just came in and just took over. And he has been a big reason as well.
I agree.
Along with that running attack, and then you have that offensive line led by Nate Pedraza. That is just a humongous team. And just think Joe Pardun, he grew up going to Rolling Meadows football games with his father being a teacher there. That last Wheeling drive was a 16-play, 81 yards, 6 minutes and 7 seconds. And here comes Noah Marks, and there he goes to about the 29-yard line. And that is where Jimmy Martin and his teammates will begin their second offensive drive with 2:55 left in the first quarter. It is a tie game from the very frigid George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. We're upstairs in the press box where it does not feel frigid. You can only imagine what it feels like down there throwing this football, because I'm guaranteeing you're going to see a lot of underthrows tonight.
Right. And I think, so far it's been a pretty balanced game. Both teams had really strong, first drives where the running game was really shining. And I think that's a key we're going to see really throughout the game, is that the running game tonight will really be the highlight of the game.
Now it's the defense's turn on the film screen. And there is Zardson. This is his first carry of the night, and I think he came out fresh, and he's going to get a gain of 11, and he's going to get another first down. A featured water break participant for the prospect of this issue. Came out today. He's been a very big key for the night. And I think his performance is going to be key tonight. Just balancing him and Chaffis out. And Jimmy's going to do a QB draw. Gain of about 11, and he's going to get another first down.
Great play by Jimmy, fighting for those yards.
Finding space, too.
Zardson's really burst onto the scene, too, because, starting the year, we really expected Michael Chaffis to not only play that role on defense and linebacker, but also on offense, too. And Zardson come in and kind of relieve that workload so that he can take, some of the offensive snaps, and you can focus Michael more on defense, and it's really helped this team.
Absolutely. He has been wonderful for the night. Scored a touchdown against Rolling Meadows 2 weeks ago. That was a very cold game as well. Martin is going to throw it, and that pass is caught by Traviola.
Wow.
There was a flag. We will see if who's it going to be on it. Likely going to be on Wheeling. We'll see. But
let's see after the flag.
Who knows?
We talked about at the beginning of the game, airing the ball out. When Jimmy has the opportunity to sit in the pocket and throw the ball, he can make plays and lead this offense.
This is likely going to be on the Wildcats. This could be a push-off maybe on Traviola. We'll see. This could be one of two options, and this is going to stand. It's going to be on Wheeling, and the play's going to stand. A good pass from Martin. Even better catch by Ryan Traviola, number 15.
It's really great to see, Martin be able to use his skill and air it out, and this night's offense so far is looking very impressive.
Very, very different approach from last week.
Maybe DeBuff heard your comments on Prospect Football Weekly and decided to make some changes.
I hope that has some. That'd be very nice, but we'll see. We'll see what he thinks about it after the game. And we have some discussions made from our officiating crew. We'll see. And we'll see what's going on. Penalty was called on Wheeling. We'll see what this makes out of it. I think they're just going to count the distance of which that penalty will be enforced from.
Okay. We'd like to take a moment, too, to thank our sponsor, Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Prospect and Outback Steakhouse of Mount Prospect, two very important partners of our program. We'd like to give a little shout-out to them.
Absolutely. I think we should decline the penalty. Yes, thank you. He caught the ball.
There's a fan in the stands helping the refs out, screaming, "He caught the ball!" In case anyone didn't see, he caught the ball.
I don't think this officiating crew needs any help from anybody. This is what they do. a declined penalty. It's going to be a first down. The play's going to stand up. And I guess we are going to have more drama.
Some serious confusion here at George Gaddis.
I think it's time to make it a reality TV show.
What would you call the show?
Decline or accept? We will see what this comes out of. Are we going to decline? Is Dan DeBuff going to decline the penalty? Let's see. As we keep hearing the chants of he caught the ball, he's going to decline the penalty.
Very interesting call.
And a lot of 3 men in motion: Doherty, Sargent, and Ryan Traviola. A very interesting call. Jimmy Martin is in the shotgun, number 10. Second to last home game as a starter. As Martin is going to go down the field again, he's going to find some space. And he's going to get to about the 30-yard line.
Almost looked like they were going to try to run the same exact play.
Yeah. Except this time they put Matt Meyer, a pretty tall receiver, about 6'1", 6'2". He's a big guy. You throw it back of the end zone, let him go up. That's a 50-50 ball.
Yeah, the 20-yard reception, too, we saw on the first drive against the Buffalo Grove game. Just a great connection between Meyer and Martin. They've developed a really good relationship over the course of their career.
They've also developed a good skill of just getting this crowd pumped up. I don't think I've ever seen 2 people do that, as Martin's going to find a way, as he's going to be pretzeled down by Michael Best. That is a very powerful tackle. I think it's also about Wheeling. There's so many two-way players on this football team, and I think just keeping guys from Wheeling, just getting hydrated. This is a smaller team than usual, as there is.
Reminds me the most of the St. Viator game. St. Viator and Wheeling had pretty much the same size rosters on the on each side of the sideline, and over the course of the game, those two-way players just get drained. That's just being a person, and if Prospect can take advantage of that, it can be really big for them.
Luke Zardzin will say hello to the Wheeling defensive line, and he might get back to the line of scrimmage. And that was a good job there from the Wheeling offensive line, with some pressure there. It's going to be a second and about 10. And Martin is going to throw down the field. He's going to find, it looks like he had an open lane, and that pass is a little wide, intended for Traviola. He looked like he had an open lane to run down the field. Interesting decision to make that pass.
Very.
Because I think if you take that lane, you might at least get 5 on the play and bring it up down to a 3rd and 5. We'll see if this is 4-down territory for Prospect with the conditions here tonight. The wind would be at would be heading toward Tony Santangelo. And here is a throw from Martin, and he's going to get a screen. We saw a lot of those last week, and Zardzin is going to get near the first down marker. It's going to be a little short, though. And I think
they're going for it.
They're going to keep the offense on the field. I don't blame them.
No, I don't either. I think, like we talked about, it's that cold weather play. This is, 4-down football right now.
And that football is going to not to be very kind when you put your foot on it. Jimmy's going to look over to Dan DeBuff and Matt Weber. Seems like this is the Matt Weber Bowl because Matt Weber is a teacher at Wheeling, also coaches girls basketball there.
Wow.
And Martin is going to keep it. Let's see. I think that second effort's going to get him a first down.
Interesting.
We'll see.
Interesting call from DeBuff, though.
It won't.
No, it won't. The defense going on. Great job by Jimmy there, fighting for those extra yards. He was down. First contact came about a yard in, and he kept fighting for that extra play. Really, giving it his all because he knows this is a do-or-die situation.
This
could be Jimmy's second to last home game as a Prospect night.
This is his most important football game I think he's ever played.
Absolutely.
Because this could determine a difference between.
Will he be a state playoff quarterback or simply just a starting quarterback?
Or just a quarterback whose season is over. We'll see. So it's the Wheeling Wildcats who come onto the field. 45.6 seconds remaining in the first quarter. It is a 7-all tie between the Wildcats and Knights. As Best is in the shotgun, he's going to take the snap. A quick throw out to Brandon Zedek, who is there, and he is going to be brought down by, it looks like, 15 different Prospect Knights on the defense.
Great job by Gage Bayer and Jack Casburn being right there for that tackle. Really had nowhere to go.
And that is the first completed pass from Michael Best tonight. Had a couple of chances. Missed on that overthrow. They're near the red zone. And I think Wheeling is going to head to the other side. I think they will take how they performed in this first quarter.
I think they will too. I think, both sides of the ball, it's been a very solid first quarter. Offenses have looked really strong. Defenses have given up some plays, but for the most part have looked really strong too.
Not only are you keeping them from trying to even getting a field goal, but you're also, they didn't get anything on that drive. That was a long drive for Prospect. And it just ends up as a goose egg for the Knights, and now they will switch sides. So a very, very good start for the Wheeling Wildcats. I think a good start for the Prospect Knights. They got on the board on the passing game, so a very good start for that as well.
And
now we're hearing some noise from the Prospect student section.
Student section getting a little involved. It's a tough game today. It's pretty cold out there, but they're having fun, because that's always what the underground will be. No matter the conditions, if it's raining or if it's pouring like we saw at Buffalo Grove, they're still going to have a lot of fun. It wasn't like a very cold rain. No.
But it was
towards the the third and the fourth quarter. It was really coming down, and you really have to hand it to Prospect 2 for not giving up. They were still fighting as hard as they could. Granted, it was a tough Buffalo Grove team, but they wouldn't quit.
I guess that's a very, very good observation there. It just seemed like Buffalo Grove took all that energy away from them after that first drive. Vinny Hoffman had one heck of a game for Buffalo Grove. He's subbing in along with Chris Huber for Tom Trebe, and Buffalo Grove has had a very interesting year.
They have,
I think, to say the least. They played a very tough schedule. They played Barrington as well. They're not an easy challenge as well.
No,
at all. One quarter of play in Rolling Meadows, and it is a 7-6 Mustang lead. Jordan Hansen scored for the Hersey Huskies. The extra point was missed by Max McCall.
We may see a little bit more of that tonight. Kickers maybe missing those short field goals or those extra points. It's cold. It's hard to hit. It's hard to kick that football.
Absolutely, and that's also going to bring the range down for what they're going to kick tonight. Maybe you're not giving these guys chances to hit a 38-yard field goal. You might bring their range down to about 28 to maybe 30 at the max for field goal range.
Which just goes back into that point of just that 4-down ball that we were talking about earlier.
Let's see how Brian Hawk and Dan DeBuff use their kickers in the way. Wheeling is in a four wide set with Panganabin to the side of Best, and Best is going to go down the field. He's got a wide open Brandon Zedek. He's gonna make sure his feet are in. And that is a big gain for the Wildcats. They are not afraid to throw the ball down the field.
Very, very athletic play from both Michael Best and Brandon Zedek. Really big play for this Wheeling offense.
They're not afraid to throw the ball down the field. And it's now 14-6 in favor of the Horses in the purple and yellow. They had very nice gray uniforms when we played them a couple weeks ago. Seems like Matt Mishler's crew has like 17 different uniforms.
That's true.
They have a purple, they have a black.
Prospect we're seeing though for the first time tonight. They have first time this season.
Blue
They've got
blue.
The Columbia on Columbia. I think it's a strong look.
And that pass is dropped by Paul Ufer. Paul Ufer could not hold on to that, and it's going to be a 2nd and 10. 11:18 left in the second quarter. It is currently knotted at 7. And it's a 2nd and 10 from midfield. And now looks like Brandon Woodruff hit a home run for the Milwaukee Brewers. It's now a tie game there. And there is a catch, and it looks like number 12. That's going to be caught.
Refs are going to rule that he was down by contact before that ball came out, because some of the Knights were jumping on that ball. They thought it might have been a safety.
Just out of safety.
Excuse me, a safety, a fumble. I'm sorry.
Hey, if just got to go about 50 yards backwards, and there is going to be a stop, and we have some laundry on the field. It's going to be a false start on Wheeling. So that's going to move Wheeling back a little bit.
Well.
But it seems like Wheeling doesn't. I don't think it really has bothered Wheeling that they've been moving back. They just find ways to go down the field with that offense and just keep attacking.
No, I think Wheeling's best accomplished so far tonight, I think it's just been extending those drives.
I think also those 2 fourth-down conversions on their first drive really helped.
Exactly.
And you talked about during the keys of the game, keeping that defense off the field. These long drives in this cold weather, it's not helping.
No.
Best is going to take the snap, and he's going to go middle. That pass is caught. What a catch and what a throw. That's number 22, J.P. Smith. What a throw. What a catch.
Caught that on his shoulder.
And he
managed a little bit of David Tyree in the Super Bowl
Okay,
almost.
let's not bring that up, but he managed to keep his feet in. And it looked like he juggled the ball a little late, and he still kept it in.
Yeah, very athletic play.
Very nice job by J.P. Smith. Wheeling now in prospect territory, trying to put a 14 on the board against this prospect defense here away from home. And Best is going to take a huge loss.
Big
Jack
play.
Friedrichs is going to sack him.
Biggest play so far tonight from prospects defense. Really, really big, almost, a game changer.
That's a loss of 14. That's going to bring up a 2nd and 24. And now they're back in Wheeling territory, even though they're not very far from prospect territory. But that was a huge sack from Jack Friedrichs. I think as Michael Best, it's just good luck because it looked like there were people coming all around. He couldn't have gotten outside the pocket and throw it away. Great sack there from Friedrichs. Adam Mecke also around there with the pressure. And Best is going to hand it off to Panganaban. And he's going to get a gain, maybe about 8 or 9 on the play. 7-yard gain. My numbers are a bit off tonight.
Big third down here. 3rd down and 17. If you can get a stop here, maybe an incomplete pass. I don't see Wheeling going for it on a 4th and 17. We'll see our first punt of the night.
Yeah, 2 safeties back. I think they know it's going to likely be a pass here from Wheeling. Let's see if that's going to be the case. We'll see. We've seen crazier things. We saw 2 runs on 4th down for Wheeling. Both of them were converted. Best is going to go outside the pocket. He's going to throw. That pass is going to be caught by number 22, J.P. Smith. It's not going to get the job done, or at least.
But it might bring back up that the 4th down drive for Wheeling. They were able to get pretty close.
It's actually a 3rd down because we forgot about the penalty.
Oh,
Gain of
right.
14, so now it's a 4th down.
Now it's a 4th down, excuse me.
Looks like we forgot the penalty there. 4th and 3.
Wheeling's offense so far 2 for 2 tonight on 4th down attempts.
Just think about it. This was a 2nd and 24 just 2 plays ago.
It was.
And now it's a 4th and 3. Let's see if they're going to stay on the ground here. They've done it a couple times. And they're going to pass it here on 4th down, and Best is going to get it to Zedek. And he's got a 1st down.
It's one thing the Knights maybe, at the locker room at halftime, something they have to address. You cannot give up 3 4th down conversions.
And 2 of them by running the football.
Right.
That was a quick little out. And just come back in from Zedek. Zedek has been probably their best receiver the past couple of seasons. And it's going to be a 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. On a very, very cold night here at George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. 9:04 left. A lot of time left in the 2nd quarter. Almost a tackle, and Panganaban is going to get a good start here on this 1st down for Wheeling. Tackle there from Michael Sema on the night linebacker core.
So far, a very, very dominant run game from the Wheeling Wildcats.
Not only are talking about a dominant run game, their passing game has been very, very good as well. And now it's just coming down to the prospect defense to find ways to stop them. And the prospect defense, they played a lot of good teams, as Panganaban is going to get maybe a yard or 2. They played 3 very tough teams in a row. Hersey started first.
Mm-hmm.
They put up put up 55. Rolling Meadows came the next week. They put up 62. And then Buffalo Grove last week, they put up 27. As they've given up they've given up over 100 points in the last 3 games. Michael Best has had a very good day. He had that one incompletion earlier. He's 6 of 7 with 64 yards on this drive. And he's had a very good drive as Panganaban.
Yeah, Panganaban has had a game today so far.
You know, I think he could be over 100 yards before the end of the half.
If he keeps up what he's doing now, he will be.
I think Brian Huck is going to be very thrilled with that heading into halftime. I think he's going to be very thrilled with the start his defense has had, especially on that last drive where they prevented the Knights from even getting 3. And that's going to be a big victory. And let's see what Wheeling does here. It's a 4th down again. And they're going to hand it off to Penn. And I think they got it. It's actually J.P. Smith. 20. It's a correction, 20. That's Ryan Glassberg, and that's the biggest play of the game, and he's going to get a first down from it. Nice job there from the Wheeling Wildcats, just inserting new backs, and they find ways to get the going. And I think
we're going to bring out the measuring crew to confirm this call.
And I'd like to welcome our chain gang out of the field. We've got Gabe Corey Jr., Dr. J. Kip Johnson, and Cleveland on the chain tonight. J. Kip Johnson.
I think Prospect is very confident, and they're not going to get it. And it looks like that measurement was a very important thing for the Prospect Knights.
I mean, we look maybe later on in the game that could be a game changer for this game.
And that keeps Wheeling off the board here on that drive. It's still 7-7 with 6:58 left in the second quarter. It's going to be a 1st and 10 from the Prospect 17-yard line. We'll see if that gives the Knights any advantage here as we move on. So it's Jimmy Martin in this up-tempo offense. Here for the 3rd time. Their last drive stalled, ended in no points. And there's a pass that's going to be caught, and I think this play will not count. Zedek on the tackle. The pass is complete to Matt Meyer. There is a flag, likely going to be Prospect as the perpetrators. It is.
Pretty important, drive here, too. If you can take a nice long drive, take some time off the clock, go up 14-7 and a half, have control of this game, and then really come out in the second half and really try to, bring it home and keep the playoff dreams alive.
Absolutely. The implications of this game could not be more important, and the implications potentially of next week couldn't be more important either.
We can definitely expect to see a very, very hyped-up George Gaddis Stadium next week if Prospect is in a position for the first time since 2012 to be able to make the playoffs.
Likely their first playoff game if they make it, would be likely on the road somewhere. It'd be probably very cold night. That would be on October 26th. And here is Jimmy on a QB draw, and he's not going to get much. Next week, it is a matchup between Elk Grove. Elk Grove comes into town. They play tonight against Buffalo Grove. Grenadiers, we talked about, they've been improving. Charlie Jancic, Ian Ridge has come from the freshman team. He's a sophomore. He's a very good running back for them. And this is a program that I think is on the rise now.
Absolutely.
Next year, I think they're going to be a lot better.
I think you take all 6 MSLE's programs are really looking very positive.
That pass is incomplete, and there's going to be a flag. 2 of them, actually. I think this will be on Wheeling, and it'll give the Knights a first down.
Ryan Treviol extending for that pass, just couldn't get there. This could be a big, big call in favor of the Knights.
Absolutely. Coverage there from Paul Ufer. I think he's going to be the one who's going to get the flag. I think he's going to be the one that's going to get called on. Pretty good coverage there. It looked like he was playing him very, very closely. But just it might have been a little tug. That might have done the job. And it's going to be a pass interference call against Wheeling. And 2 of them, actually. Also a hold as well. 2 different flags, a hold and a pass interference. Don't see that often, where they're both called the same way.
I think one thing for Wheeling, they've got to be really, really careful with these penalties. They're starting to really cost them throughout this first half.
Penalties can just kill a game, and just by one penalty can kill everything. Arik Kleniuk was the one who scored for the Rolling Meadows to bring them up 14-6. And Zardzan's going to get about halfway there. Michael Best, number 1, the quarterback, defensive back, kicker. Should we just call him a specialist, Connor?
Really almost the Swiss Army knife of this Wheeling team.
Yeah, Noah Marks is our Swiss Army knife, as I've called him that the last couple weeks. This is a 5-wide set here. They're going to pass to the aforementioned Swiss Army knife, Noah Marks. And that's going to get maybe about 2. Tackle there from J.P. Smith. Actually get it back to the line of scrimmage. They lost it 2. There is a run from Sheffis, and he is going to get a couple. This is going to bring up a 4th down. And now you're going to keep. Do you keep the offense on the field? If you don't get it,
I think you do. I think given the time and the situation in the game, I think you go for it.
They're going to sneak it. I think he's going to get it.
I think he's going to get it.
I think he's got it.
They'll have redemption from that 4th down. A drive earlier. That was a big play for the Knights to extend this drive.
And they went hurry up, and I think that just gave it away. That he's just going to take it, and he's going to just use his offensive lineman.
That's one of the things we've seen in this DeBuff offense.
As Martin's pass is going to be caught by Matt Meyer, number 88. A good laser throw from Jimmy Martin on a 1st and 10, and that's going to be a 1st down. We did not see that probably at all.
No, I think it is very impressive to see the difference between. This looks like 2 separate teams, really. These are 2 separate Prospect Knights teams. The one that was in the rain last week and the one that's playing tonight.
We switch from the rain to the cold. There is a wide open hole for Michael Sheffis. He will easily cross the goal line for a Prospect touchdown. Michael Sheffis, the touchdown machine, it seems like.
Great play
That
from
was a large hole.
Sheffis, but the great play from the offensive line too. Who goes unnoted? They gave him such a wide hole, and all Sheffis has to do is just run right up the middle. No work for him. But a great play.
That was done by the offensive line led by Mitch Camp, amongst the others. What a job there from the Prospect offense.
3-yard drive by the Knights after they hold Wheeling on 4th down. Michael Sheffis with a 32-yard run.
2 very interesting drives.
Wow.
Hey, they're going for 2 here in a very interesting formation.
They're going to get it. Great play from Gary Muller, dodging that tackle, getting in. Great play for the Knights. Knights go up 15-7.
Some trickery there on the 2-point conversion, and it's going to bring Prospect up 15-7. Gary Muller was a quarterback, so I guess, we just plug him in there.
That's true.
There he goes.
And I think it goes back to that do or die mentality. You got to, bring out everything. This is your last chance. You got to give everything you have, and I think sometimes that's going for those trick plays, those dangerous plays. You really have to take those risks.
You got to be aggressive. I think Dan DeBuff has been pretty aggressive here in his play calling.
That's really been one of his big focuses so far since he's taken over at Prospect, being aggressive in his play calling.
Yeah, it seems like last couple years was just grind the football until they just pass out.
Right.
And now they're just going for, hey, let's switch it up every now and then and diversify this offense.
And I think it's a really fun change. It's really, brought back so much excitement into Prospect football. Really seeing, this new dynamic kind of way that they've been playing.
I think this is also really the first time like a culture change, and I think since Brent Perlman took over.
Definitely.
As Santangelo's going to kick it off, and this is going to be returned by one of the upmen. This is Ryan Glassberg, and that is a very large opening. Tony Santangelo is going to try and beat him, and he's going to make the tackle.
Wow.
The kicker, Tony Santangelo,
great save
a wheeling
from Tony
touchdown.
Reminds me of the Colts game with Pat McAfee, where he saved the punt return from going out of bounds. But a great play right there from Tony Santangelo.
Using a Pat McAfee. I like it. I like the reference. Now he's no longer playing, though, in Indianapolis. Rigoberto Sanchez replaced him. So a good return there from Ryan Glassberg. As we'd like to thank our sponsors, Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Prospect, as well as Outback Steakhouse. Just very close, not too far away. Stay tuned for the Outback player of the game, and also stay tuned for a performance from the very bundled up Prospect Marching Knights. I think their uniforms are like saviors tonight.
Honestly.
It is very, very cold. Here is Best, and he's gonna do a QB draw. There's a flag, and I think
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, Wheeling. There was just nothing.
Great play by the Knights defense, really just chasing him out to the sideline, really forcing him out, nowhere to go.
If that's a holding call on Wheeling, do you accept the penalty or do you decline it? And it's a second and about 14.
I think I would decline it. That's just me.
I think they can accept it. I think they are. Let's see what head coach Dan DeBuff decides on this penalty decision. And it's going to be a decision they're going to decline it, and they're going to bring up a second and long. Lost it about 2. 2 or 3. It's a second and 13. Let's see if Wheeling goes deep here on the next 2 plays. They're second and long here from about the 38 at Michael Best's arm. I think it's pretty strong enough to get at least 38 yards. Saw him in warm-ups throw the ball, and he can throw it. Let's see if he goes deep here on this play. Yep, there he goes, and that pass a little overthrown. And there's going to be a flag, and I think to the dismay of the Prospect fans, this is going to be against the Knights.
A little bit of a question to call there from the referees, but you can't get upset when it goes your way. You can't get upset when it doesn't go your way.
I think what the Prospect sideline might be asking if that pass is not catchable, and we'll see. It's an overthrown pass, but I think, and it's a pass interference. Yeah, I don't think there's really a reason.
No, I don't think that was a very questionable.
No, I don't think it's a call. No, not about the call. The call's the call. You can't change that. But I think there's no purpose in just. You don't need to commit that. You don't need to commit any penalty, but
no.
But especially in a play like that where that ball is about maybe 5 yards overthrown.
No, I see your point. I agree.
And that's gonna bring a first down for Wheeling near the red zone. With 4:10 left.
A little bit of that aggressiveness.
Quarter.
Sometimes when you're playing a little too aggressive, sometimes you slip up and you make little mistakes like that.
That's not a little mistake there, Connor.
Bigger mistake, but still.
Bigger mistake, yeah. It's gonna put Wheeling near the 20-yard line. But again, it could have been worse. Obviously, it could have. And let's see what they do here. Best is going to go to the outside. He's gonna run for it, and he is going to use that size. And he's going to stumble, gain a couple. He's a very tall guy.
Really is.
And it looked like maybe that height might have served him a little disadvantage because with those long legs, it looked like he was having some trouble keeping up.
To an athletic player, though, you can really tell that when he's on the field, he's really one of the most athletic guys out there.
Absolutely.
And that's what you want in your starting quarterback too.
He's also been on the varsity team 3 years. Also, during that playoff team, I think his sophomore year, a couple years ago, when they went to the playoffs under Brent Perlman. And that play is going to not be the same as the last one.
There we go. Jack Friedrichs and Michael Sema all over that play right there.
Yeah, Jack Friedrichs has been a huge part for this defense this year. Just think about him. You have him also next year.
Next year, yeah. You look forward next year. He could be that centerpiece of that defensive line.
More experience for this offensive line, and you have a young receiving core.
Which is, it's really great to see. They get that experience and that time now, and come next year, they're that much better because they've had that chance.
I think it's everything. I think it's probably one of the most underlooked aspects. And Best is going to throw deep down the field, and there is going to be a flag, and he made contact. That one might be a no-doubter.
I think so, but still, it just goes back to that just mistakes too. There's no need to to initiate that contact and get that call drawn on you.
Talked about the penalties piling up for Wheeling.
Starting to pile up for Prospect.
Two pass interferences on the last 4 plays. And it looks like he grabbed the arm. The receiver. Now that's going to put Wheeling inside the 15-yard line. At the 11-yard line for the Wildcats. with the chance to potentially tie this football game. It's a 15-7 Prospect Night lead in basically what should be considered basically a play-in game.
Yeah.
You're playing to stay in next week. Wheeling will take on the Hersey Huskies
Without a doubt.
at Roland Gordon Stadium in Arlington Heights. Prospect will not move an inch as they will play the Elk Grove Grenadiers next week here at George Gaddis. And Best is going to get inside the 10-yard line, near the 8-yard line, a gain of about 3. Gary Moeller, number 2 on the tackle. He's another part of that young defense for Brock Collins and company.
Pretty big moment here for the Knights. You know, you're down deep in your own territory. You want to try to get that stop because you got to remember too, Wheeling does get the ball to start the second half.
Just about to mention that you took the spot. Trying to at least stop him to a field goal, but also field goals aren't guaranteed. This Prospect
That's
special
true.
teams has had blocks.
That's true.
Each of the last, I think, they've almost had it every game this year. Best is going to be close to the end zone. That's going to be caught by number 81, Daniel Provost.
And Wheeling's offense right now really knocking on the doors to try to get a second touchdown up on the board.
Maybe you see Jonathan Panganaban here on this. Maybe a little quick pass here for Michael Best. Let's see what Brian Huck and company draw up here. On a third and third and 3, they can get the first down to about the 1-yard line. This is Glassberg, and he is going to be brought back, and I think it's going to be 4-down territory here for Wheeling.
It's a dangerous call.
Would you think this is 4-down? Yep, I think they're going to call 4-down territory. I think they're going to draw a play up.
This could be huge for the Knights to be able to make a stop right here, really take control of the game.
This is a 4th and 4 here for the Wheeling Wildcats. And this place could get going in a frenzy with a 4th down stop. I think Brian Huck might just take a timeout and have a discussion about it. We'll see. They're using a lot of time. I think he's going to use a timeout. Yep. And Brian Huck and company will take a timeout. We'll see whether he's a timeout. Stay tuned for an interview with our sideline reporter Ryan Barrich, who will talk with head coach Dan DeBuff. We will see what he has to say on this first half. I think he should be okay with how it's been so far this half.
I think so. You know, it was nothing like Buffalo Grove. The game isn't out of control at all. You're leading the game so far. The offense has looked really strong. The defense has given up a couple of plays, but for the most part has played pretty well.
Absolutely. Obviously, stay tuned for a performance from the Prospect Marching Knights.
Of course.
Led by Mr. Chris Barnum. They always put on a good show. Tonight it's about putting on a good and warm show. Trying to stay warm, but I'm sure they have no problems doing that. Wheeling is taking their time. Prospect is on the field. They are. This is the biggest play of the first half.
I think so.
All right, so let's see. And they're going to go for it.
Game-defining play for this Prospect defense right here. Let's see how they respond.
Prospect still has they still have 3 timeouts with 1:28 left. And this is going to be a Best. They can get a first down at the 1-yard line. And Best is going to use outside the pocket. What a throw, what a catch. Daniel Provost.
Wow.
And a touchdown for Wheeling. That was a great play by Michael Best to get outside the pocket and make that throw.
4 of 5 for 4th down conversions now. Incredible.
Unbelievable. I think that's something the Prospect defense has got to
change.
Got to get fixed heading into the second half because you can't let them. And they're going to go for 2, I would assume. We will. Let's see what they do here.
Bit of redemption chance for the Knights. They gave up that touchdown, but they can still keep the lead by
3 timeouts left here for Prospect. Yes, he is. Prospect still has all of its timeouts. Let's see if they're going to use them. Penalties, you talked to Connor about them. And you're going to go for 2, and it's incomplete, and there's going to be more penalties. And we're going to be extending another play. And it looks like we're going to have another 2-point conversion. Penalties are just killing both teams.
They really are.
And it's going to be a pass interference call against Prospect. It's the 3rd pass interference call on this Wheeling drive.
This drive, yeah. And mistakes for Prospect, really have to try to improve on those and not let them happen again in the second half.
And we talk about Wheeling's drive with all the penalties. Prospect 16 total yards.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
The rest are due to the yellow challenge flags. Not challenge flags, the yellow
Penalty flags?
There we go.
There we go.
I was looking for the word. And we have another one.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's an offside.
Easy call. Easy call from Michael Best, to try to get the entire line to jump. An easy call for the referees to see it, too.
Now we can just sneak it, basically, because now you bring them, about maybe another half-inch closer. They can just sneak it. They're going to give it to Panganaban. And there was a group gathering near the end zone. I don't think he got it.
I think he's short. He looks short.
They have no signal. I don't think he got it.
Nope.
They did not get it. So it's going to remain a 15-13 Prospect lead on the 2-point conversion.
Big play for Prospect's defense.
Absolutely. That's a play you go into the second half saying, all right, let's do that. Let's do more of that. Because you've had so many penalties on this drive. That's got to get fixed. But at least you have something to look up to. Good job. And let's see, 3 timeouts left for Prospect, 1:22 left here. That's the ice-cold George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. By Duke Connor Graver for our second to last home game of the year.
And Nighthawks get another chance to run that 2-minute offense. Maybe try to see if they can get some points on the board right before the end of the half.
That'd be key, and I think that's something that Hersey did a couple weeks ago. They put it right before the half, and and it seemed like after that moment, it was just a completely different game here. So it is Michael Best who is going to kick it off from the 40-yard line. He's gonna wait. Jordan Hansen has scored, and he has made a 21-13 Rolling Meadows lead. And there's Zardzen. He's going to get to the 38-yard line. 3 timeouts with about 1:16 left. I think Prospect, they could try to get at least 3, maybe even 6.
That was the return you needed. That was the return they needed.
Now you're just one pass run away from Wheeling territory. That would definitely be a bright spot here to bring the offense. And Jimmy's going to go short to Noah Marks, and he is greeted by number 22, J.P. Smith.
Nowhere to go for Marks right there.
That's it, and he's going to lose a couple. Nowhere to go. Clock is going to keep moving. We're now under a minute left in the second quarter. You would think Prospect would get going. I would assume they're going to throw the football here, and they are. Martin is going to go. He's got 2 Wildcats near him. This pass is intended for Mariani, and he overthrew him.
And they'll get the penalty.
All righty.
We've seen the refs so far today have been very, very picky with their defensive pass interference calls, but a huge call for Prospect.
We'll see if this is a pass interference or maybe even a hold.
Could be.
There's 2 flags on the field, actually. There's one near the 20-yard line of Wheeling. There's also one near the 37-yard line near Prospect. These could be 2 penalties on both teams. There's one. They're going to offset. This play is not even going to count.
Okay.
So that's why. So the 2 penalties there. And those penalties, that's a big victory there. Even though Wheeling committed a penalty, it's a big win for them.
It is.
And that just changes the whole dynamic of what to do now. 45.7 seconds left in the second quarter. Prospect has all 3 timeouts left. It's a 2nd and 13. And I think Prospect might be heading.
Play it safe.
And Dan DeBuff's going to call timeout. Very interesting.
Interesting call. He would run he would run the ball and then call a timeout. Interesting call. But we've seen so far this season, Dan DeBuff's been a pretty exciting coach to try to predict what he's going to try to do.
His good luck boots today, just like every week. .6 seconds left. It is a 15-13 advantage for the men in Columbia blue and pink.
And the pink socks, of course, for our breast cancer awareness. Right, you can see the cheerleaders and the dance team, as well as color guard too. They've all got aspects of pink celebrating tonight. Also,
we have a unified pink from both student sections, as Tony Santangelo, who is sporting a White Sox overcoat, is getting his legs ready for maybe a field goal. And we will see. Let's see. I'm assuming they're going to pass it here.
I think so.
Here on a 3rd and 7, you have pretty much no choice.
No.
Unless you want to run out a couple more seconds. They're going to run it with Shafis, and he's not going to get the first down. Now it's a 4th down. A very, very interesting decision. Also a lot of very interesting decisions. And they're going to keep going up tempo here. And no timeout signal from Dan DeBuff. Is he going to let the clock run out? I would assume they're going to. Very interesting. They're going to throw the ball. And Jimmy's going to throw. Mariani's there.
Caught.
And it's caught by Nick Mariani.
Wow, great play by Nick Mariani.
Now what a throw, what a catch. And Dan DeBuff is racing to the official and calling a timeout. And
Just
now
in
it's going
time.
to bring up Tony Santangelo, likely Tony Santangelo time for the Knights.
Just over 4 seconds, just 4.7 seconds remaining. Great play, biggest throw of the night for Jimmy.
Obviously,
great play by the
a
Knights.
lot going on here at Prospect with Mental Health Awareness Week. Obviously, we have the French exchange student, but also the German exchange students here as well.
Very interesting new program we've got running, where it's not a German language, but instead kids from Germany and here at Prospect have a research project that they'd be doing together.
Very interesting, yes. I think the only school that offers AP German language and culture is Buffalo Grove.
I'm not sure.
And it's going to be Tony Santangelo, and the wind is at his back.
Big play for Santangelo here.
Let's see how this field goal is going to. It is a cold night. We will see how this turns out. This could put the Knights up by 5 heading into halftime. Obviously, stay tuned for a performance from the Marching Knights. 4.7 left here in the second quarter. This will likely be the final play of the quarter and of the first half. Let's see the pressure Wheeling puts on.
All eyes on Santangelo.
Jack Kasmer's the holder. And it's down. Kick is up. He got it. It is on a very cold night.
Wow.
Tony Santangelo puts it through the uprights, and that'll bring the score to Prospect 18, Wheeling 13. Stay tuned for the performance of the Prospect Marching Knights. That'll be happening in just a moment. And we will see you for some second half football. And also stay tuned for an interview with our sideline reporter, Ryan Barrich, who will be speaking with head coach Dan DeBuff in just a second as he heads that way. And we send it over now to Ryan Barrich.
All right, I'm joined here on the sideline with Coach Dan DeBuff. It's freezing out here. How are you holding up, Coach?
I feel great. I'm warm.
Very good. You know who's definitely warm is Michael Schaff. half as his run game has been intense. How big are those gains for the offense, and are we going to see more of that in the second half?
Yeah, I think Kim and Luke Zartzen are running the ball well. We scored on 3 of our 4 drives, so our big thing is going to be coming out here and getting a quick stop. And I think the more we can get our offense on the field, we're going to be in good shape tonight.
Yeah, true. I like that idea. But big stop should also be on the defense too, because Wheeling is 4 for 5 in fourth down conversions. What are you telling the line on how to stop that?
Yeah, the biggest thing is just keep playing the next play. No matter what type of adversity we see, we're just going to play the next play. And we saw that when we got that big 2-point conversion stop at the end.
Really close game. I wish you the best of luck in the second half.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you all in the second half, guys.
We're nearby in Mount Prospect with specials all week long. Enjoy 65-cent boneless wings on boneless Thursdays and Mondays. Get half-priced wings on Tuesdays and stop by on Wednesdays for 99-cent chicken tenders and $1.49 kids meals. Sign up for our free Blaze and Rewards loyalty program. Earn points, get rewards. It's more of what you love for what you already love to do. It's all here at Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Prospect.
cancer awareness. In addition to wearing pink, the band is also making a donation to the Young Women's Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation.
It's because we're fantastic. Also, no, I haven't noticed because I don't know anything about marching band. Thank you. Such as Twizzlers are alright. Oh my god, my side really hurts. If you guys could cut to someone else, that'd be really nice. Yep. I'm not gonna be able to be down for a while, or not for long, because they are moving away from me quick. I can't. I'm not gonna stand up. No, here come the play. This is really pixelated. Alright, I'll take your word for it. Oh my god, Jacob Kyle's fucking up. You sure you don't want me to get a shot of the players? Alright. That is a fair assessment. Sorry? Shut up, FedEx. This is as zoomed in as I can get. Yeah, right. There's St. Angelo.
And we welcome you back to the very, very, very cold George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. That might be an understatement. As Wheeling and Prospect are ready to continue the second half of football. I have a new partner. I have Jackson Gross, a Wheeling High School student. Welcome to Prospect High School. I think you're glad to be up here and not down there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely freezing down there. I can't believe there's people down there who are actually just covered in pink body paint. It's ridiculous. It's just crazy.
Yeah, that's how it got on my coat. So that was a positive of that half. I don't know how they're doing it. It's 38 degrees, and well, I guess that's just how it is. So to recap the first half, if you weren't with us, it looked like Wheeling was gonna take a 14-7 lead. Then all of a sudden, it was a Prospect defensive stop there. Michael Beston's having a good start to his day today, throwing a touchdown pass to number 81, Daniel Provost. So a good start for the Wheeling Wildcats. It is their season. It is up to them to make or break their season and just set up maybe even a chance to play Hersey for a chance to make the playoffs next week.
Yeah, this is an absolutely make or break game for this season. Hersey has been extremely dominant throughout this entire season. So this really is, especially for both sides, obviously, but especially for Wheeling. I know these guys want it really bad. So let's hope. Yeah.
See if Hersey will be dominant the rest of the way against Rolling Meadows, and Wheeling's got to get the football. And this is number 13. And I do not think he will get to the 20-yard line. He will not. So that is where Michael Best and company will start on their first drive of the second half.
Yeah. Yeah, these guys are not afraid to drive a long way down the field. First drive of the game, 81 yards in 6 minutes. So this is not uncharted territory for them.
They're not afraid to also throw the football down the field, which it seemed like Prospect did not want to do last week in the rainy, monsoony Grants Blaney Stadium in Buffalo Grove. Yeah, it was a downpour. It was not fun being there.
Yeah, it's just not opportune weather to be throwing the ball at all.
Wheeling only played a half against Rolling Meadows, 42-0 in favor of the Horses. And here is Best on the heading to the outside, and he is a large person, and he's going to use that height to get about two or three on the play. It's going to be second and 7 here for Wheeling.
Yeah. Michael really gets this offense going. He is really the heart and soul of the team. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he just loves being out there with his guys and everything. And they really play together well as a unit, and they play everything for each other.
A couple weeks ago, we had that big comeback win against Vernon Hills that named him Chicago Bears All-Star High School Player of the Week. What an honor that is for the Wheeling quarterback. And now the Wheeling quarterback takes a run, and he's off. And he has got a very large hole. There's a flag down. We will see who that's on. But right now, as it stands, this is a big gain on the run from the Wheeling Wildcats. We will see who is at fault.
Yeah. Even though with the penalty, look, sweet cutback move from Best to get there.
It will not count. So it's going to... Looks like it's an illegal block in the back on Wheeling. So there goes that run off the board. Very, very good job by this young Wheeling offensive line. And Prospect, they got to find ways to close the gaps here in the second half.
Yeah, just got to play smart on the line. Like you said, a lot of these guys are really young, so they're trying to gain as much experience as possible. But overall, they've been doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's what they've had a very good season so far. A lot of good games for this Wheeling Wildcats football team. Next week they'll head to Owen Gordon Stadium to play the Hersey Huskies in what could be the make-or-break game of their season. Prospect would host Elk Grove next week in what could be their make-or-break game of the season. That is to be determined by tonight's outcome. Best is going to throw it here on a second down, and that pass is incomplete. It's intended for Ryan Glassberg, and he just could not hold on to the football.
Drops it, and just incompletions have just seemed to really hinder this offense so far. Really easy passes just kind of dropped out of nowhere.
Might have been running with the football before he caught the football.
Yeah, that's
Looks like he was in progress there.
Yeah, you got it. Ball first, then go.
Yeah, just ball first and just go for it. So it's a 3rd and about 4 for Wheeling from the 23-yard line with 10:41 left here in the third quarter. And in motion is Ryan Glassberg. But instead, Michael Best is going to take the football. Let's see, it's going to be very close to a first down for Wheeling. Tackle made by Mickey Mehoff. And they're going to give him a first down. Good start here for the Wheeling Wildcats here on their first drive of the second half. And there is a handoff to Penganabin. And he gets a couple on first down. Bring up He's had a good game as well here tonight. He's had a good start.
Well, we got a prospect guy down on the field.
Let's see who that might be. That looks like 45. That's 45 Jack Friedrichs, who is on the ground. He had a big sack earlier on Michael Best.
Yeah,
and now he's down. Not good to see.
Yeah, speaking of which, this kid has had just a fantastic game on the defensive side, flying all over the field and just making plays everywhere.
That'd be a huge loss for Dan DeBuff, Brock Collins and company, especially heading into next week.
Yeah, every player counts.
Especially with a guys. Now you're gonna play more guys in two-way systems, which is Dan DeBuff's probably biggest nemesis in life. Playing guys two ways. He doesn't like doing that. Not a big fan of it. He likes just sticking to what he's good at. And it's good to see Jack Friedrichs walk off on his own power as he heads into the hands of the athletic training staff for the Prospect Knights.
Hopefully he's okay.
Let's hope he returns. So it's going to be a 2nd and 5 from the 32-yard line with 10:04 left in the third quarter. It is a 13-18 Wheeling deficit. Wildcats have shown that they can throw the ball down the field and drive with the best of them.
Yeah. Watch that on the bottom of the field. Zedek one-on-one coverage.
Zedek's a big guy.
Yeah.
And let's see. I don't
On
think
the other way.
He's going to go for it. This pass is incomplete.
No penalty.
No penalty there. We've seen a lot of them. Intended for J.P. Smith. You were that's kind of surprising. You have one-on-one coverage with Zedek, who's he's a pretty big kid.
Yeah, he's super athletic. He plays basketball as well at Wheeling, and he's just a goon out there. He's just
large.
Yeah.
He's a larger than life personality as well.
Yeah.
She took an SAT with him.
All right.
Well, let's see what they do here. One-on-one coverage again. There's no safety back there for Prospect, so
look,
maybe a run here.
Yep.
Nope.
Oh.
Best keeps it. This ball
underthrown.
He looked like he was hit on the play as he was throwing by number 6, Adam Ryerson. And I think that pressure from Ryerson really affected how that ball was thrown.
Yeah, definitely. He was under duress right away. It was a little surprising considering Prospect only rushed 4. I think the offensive line could have at least held him a little bit there, but really good rush way and getting out there and getting to the quarterback.
So this is going to be maybe the first punt of the game. We will see. Michael Best is usually their punter. It's going to be a pooch.
Oh, it's blocked!
It's blocked, and it's in the hands of Adam Mecke. And Adam Mecke is going to stay on his feet and get inside the 10-yard line. It looks like Michael Best was a little too close on that pooch kick, and that ended up as a block for Prospect.
Yeah, he was right up on the line. just way too close for a pooch pick like that, considering Prospect
Gotta move
brought the
back.
house.
And Tim Beischer is celebrating with his special teams crew. Special teams coordinator, offensive line coach, and this could be absolutely humongous.
Yeah, definitely.
Now you put Prospect inside the goal line.
Yeah, big on both sides. Prospect needs to score here to extend their lead, and Wheeling needs here just to try and stay in the game at this point.
And a very, very, looks like everyone's in a group, and there's Zards, and he's going to get a couple. Everyone's huddled up there. It looked like, maybe a QB sneak might have been going, but instead they go outside to Luke Zardson.
Yeah, a little trickery on that.
Let's see how trickery might affect the outcome of tonight's festivities. And here is Martin, and Jimmy is in for the touchdown. He crossed the goal line and puts Prospect up 24-13 with 9:06 remaining in the third quarter.
A really nice rollout, perfectly designed play. Either if someone's open, throw it. He saw the perfect lane open to run, and just a nice strong run getting over the goal line.
Helped on a blocked punt, which ended up in the hands of Adam Mecke, who is now wearing the defensive hat. And now he put it down. And let's see, they might be, I don't think they're going for two here. Gary Moeller is on the hold. Usually it was Ryan Traviol the past couple weeks. Maybe get an ex-quarterback in. And hold down, kick up, it's good.
It's good.
Oh, he missed it.
Oh.
It was a laser beam. It looks like it went right through him. Must have missed wide left. And it's a 24-13 Prospect lead. Good. It looked like everything was just going to be normal. There was a punt there. It would have been the first punt of the game, and it was the first punt of the game, and it got blocked, and then Prospect has it inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, just great advantage of taking advantage of the opportunities you're given, and just great special teams and offensive play. Good defense to get Wheeling into that situation where they were forced to punt instead of going for it, where they've been very effective on fourth down.
And I'm sure that's going to be something Brian Huck is going to be asked about that after the game. Why was he so close to base? He was about maybe a yard or two. That's pretty close for a pooch kick. And I think he paid the price for it.
Absolutely.
So Tony Santangelo will kick it off. And here we go. Going to be returned.
Panganiban.
There's Panganiban, and there he goes to about the 32-yard line. So that is where Wheeling will start, and now they're down 2 possessions.
Yeah, for this Wheeling offense, it's got to be really just short-term memory at this point. Put that last drive behind you and just focus on scoring on this one.
Looks like the lights went out here. Press box.
So first and 10 Wildcats at their own 32.
32-yard line is where Wheeling will start. They're going to try at least bring this back to a one-possession game here at George Gaddis Memorial Stadium on the wonderful campus of Prospect High School.
Yeah, it really is a great campus here.
I appreciate it. I built it myself. And there is Michael Best, and he is not going anywhere. And he's tackled by Adam Ryerson.
There's a way to get in the backfield, get past the line, and just make a great tackle to trip him up. And as you said earlier, Best with those long legs working to his disadvantage when, once again, easy target to trying to trip up.
Yeah, it's an advantage. You get to stand inside in the pocket and just go for it. And Best is going to take it, play action. Here he goes. And the pass is a little overthrown. A little too far there for number 22, J.P. Smith. That might have been his first wide ball we've seen of him throw all night.
Yeah.
He had one overthrow earlier, but it was called for a penalty.
Yeah, he's had a short accuracy has been very good for him. Not a lot of missed throws there, but deep accuracy is a little something to work on a little bit as going forward.
Let's see. Wheeling call a timeout. No signal on the field yet. Or is... Well, there's something going on. Hopefully everyone's okay. I think I was Tim Beischer over there. Okay. Hopefully everybody's okay. Nobody's hurt. Michael Best, 10 of 17 for 71 yards, but that 10 of 17 comes with 4 straight incompletions. Now it's a 3rd and
14.
Very long for the Wheeling Wildcats, but we've seen them go deep down the field. Maybe, let's see. They don't have anyone back there for the Knights playing center field, and they're gonna have Brandon Zedek watch on the right side on the bottom of your screen with Gage Bayer on him. Let's see if they go to him here. Yes, they are.
Going deep.
And he's gonna overthrow him. And we have a penalty.
Ooh.
Pretty late penalty, and I think this is gonna be called on the men in Columbia Blue. It's going to be a roughing the passer call against Prospect. It's a late penalty call there, and it's going to cause the Knights to be at a disadvantage.
Yeah,
penalties have been killer for both teams in all. It's going to bring up first down near midfield. Now they're just one play away from heading into Prospect territory.
Absolutely.
And Best is going to hand it off to Panganaban, and he is going to break tackle. He's going to get another first. And he's ruled down there, a gain of about 11. I think they're going to give it to him.
Yep.
And it's going to be a first down for Wheeling. So it has just been it's been like a two-headed machine on offense led by Michael Best and also Jonathan Panganaban.
Yeah, rushing has been the main key in this game for both teams.
There he goes, and he says hello to the Prospect defensive line. Michael Schaffis looks like he was there first, and Mihov joins the party. A lot of fun going on in other games around. Loy Meadows still 21-13 over the Hersey Huskies. Hoffman Estates is trailing Frem 17-3. That's an interesting matchup there. And that pass is overthrown. Nope. It's like it was a little overthrown, intended for his receiver. Trying to get outside the pocket, just throw it away there. Good job from Best. Conant is up 35-0 to Palatine. How about that? Conant is having some type of year. Barrington and head coach Joe Sanchez is up on Schaumburg 17-7. A lot of fun going on around this area. A lot of fun in the cold. Last week it was a lot of delays in the rain.
Yeah.
I think that was the second rain delay for Wheeling this last week of the year. They also had that little hour one. They had 2 rain delays in the same season. That's pretty unique. Yep. Best is facing pressure, and he still finds Panganaban, and he's going to be behind the line of scrimmage. I think Best is not happy that no flag there. It's going to be a 4th and 9. And is this going to be fourth down territory, Mr. Gross?
I think so. You're down 11 right now. You need to get some momentum for your team and try and get this. Like I said, they've been very effective on 4th down, so I would not be surprised if they went for this.
Very interesting. Gary Moeller went back. Now he's going to come back into coverage. So they had someone back, but I think they're going to, I absolutely agree. You're down 2 scores. You got to get something going. Best is going to throw here on this 4th down. They've converted a couple already, and the pass is going to be caught. I think that's their 5th 4th down conversion. That time it was to J.P. Smith. Maybe. Obviously a big thank you to all of the Wheeling Wildcats for retweeting this link to this broadcast, including their assistant principal, Mr. Stephen May, as well as Mr. Jerry Cook, the principal of Wheeling High School. Also, thank you to Mr. Frank Mirandola, who I know is tuning in at home, enjoying tonight's broadcast from his heating home. And that pass is going to be caught, and that's going to be over the goal line, a Wheeling touchdown. It looks like that was Brandon Zedek.
Danny Provost.
Danny Provost. My goodness, I cannot see it all. 81.
What a catch.
That's his second touchdown catch of the night.
Yeah, really good game from this junior. Yeah.
And you have him next year, too. How about that?
Yeah. There's a lot of teams here at Wheeling, a lot of young teams. Not a lot of, there are seniors obviously, but a lot of these teams are really young, and they're just going to keep growing and growing.
Yes, they are, especially like a team like Wheeling. Wheeling's going to find something new next year. Michael Best is leaving. Brandon Zedek's leaving. I'm sure Brian Huck's going to have no problem. That kick is going to be good. And it is now a 24-20 Prospect lead with 5:58 remaining in the third quarter. So it has been a little more interesting on that touchdown pass from Michael Best to Daniel Provost. That was good coverage there for Prospect, and
Absolutely.
he still found a way to make that happen.
Yeah, just a perfect throw. Great downfield throw. Just nothing really defender could do to try and get it. Just put it in a spot only the receiver could get it.
Another night penalty killed. Chance to stop him, make it a punt. And it just turns into a Wheeling touchdown. These penalties have they've been deadly to both teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, near the end of the first half,
It seemed like we had 60 on that last drive in the second half.
Yeah, it was just
first half. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's been a lot of penalties. Maybe some questionable, but
got to play through them.
Yep, absolutely.
As the ball came off the tee, it's not a very windy night. I mean, it's breezy, but it's not like overly windy. It's very, very cold, and I'm sure the conditions for both quarterbacks. And you don't see Michael Best wearing a glove on his hand. He's throwing the ball naturally from his right hand. You'd think his hand would get cold, and this is a little squib. It's going to be returned by one of the Prospect upmen, and that's Johnny Pansini. He's going to get to about the 32-yard line. Interesting. Maybe because that's past 10 yards. If you might catch him off guard, you can get the football.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to not necessarily trick him, but just trying to throw him a little off guard and see if you can get the ball back, keep your momentum on your side.
So now it will be the first possession of the second half for Prospect, halfway through, and there's a pass that's going to be caught by Matt Meyer, number 88, and he'll get a Prospect first down, something they did not do a lot last week against Buffalo Grove. I think they had like 2 drives in the third. I think it was the third quarter that lasted just about 2 minutes, but a nice job there. They were really flipping the script here against Wheeling. Jimmy on a QB draw, and that will go way back there. That might be a loss of about 8 or 9 on the play, and that's going to be a second at about 18. Interesting decision there. Just you try to throw it away in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing that there's a guy right on you. You just kind of try and get out the pocket and throw it away.
Just get out and chuck it as far as you can. And Martin is going to go outside the pocket again here, and he's going to head out of bounds. It's going to be about a 3rd and 10, 3rd and a little more. And I think it's going to be hold on Prospect. It'll be a 2nd and a country mile.
Yeah. There's got to be a lot more discipline, obviously, on both sides.
Now a closer game from Rolling Meadows. It's now 24-21. That's the game of the year, I think, in this conference.
Absolutely. That game will most likely determine who wins the conference. Both amazing teams.
The ball's going to be spotted back at the
Both teams can put up 60 points in just about 5 seconds, it seems like.
Both their offenses are really clicking, and
Defenses are both great, led by Jace O'Hara and Nate Pedraza on their defensive line for Rolling Meadows. Hershey has Jordan Hansen. What a year he's having, along with Ryan Justice in that dual quarterback system. It's been some sort of revelation for head coach Joe Pardon there. That could be a potential first-round matchup for the playoffs for one of these two teams. Here's Shaffis, and he is going to get a lot back on the play. That's going to be more than halfway there. Still going to be a 3rd and long, but good run there to at least get a big chunk of that.
yeah, obviously you can't go for 20-plus yards on one play and then that far. You just got to chip away at it and make it 3rd and 4th and manageable.
So it's still going to be a 3rd and 14 with 4:50 remaining in the third quarter of play. And Michael Shaffis has 112 on the game today. Seems like it just takes 5 carries for him to get to it. He's had a couple of those games where it was like 3 carries and 102 yards. And a couple of touchdowns as well. He has a touchdown here today. Martin is going to throw. He's going to go down the field, and he's going to overthrow everybody. And it's incomplete. It looks like it was triple coverage there.
It looks like Kyle Kong and Michael Best around that area.
Yeah, there was like a trio around Matt Meyer. That's a good partner for Matt Meyer to have all day. Michael Best, both big people.
And both can go up and get it, and both can just great athletes.
All righty, this is a 4th down, 4th and 14. We'll see maybe a pooch coming. I think that's what Jimmy might be doing in just a second. And yep, it's going to be a pooch. That's a pretty good punt for Jimmy Martin. He doesn't usually punt it. It's going to take a bounce, and it's going to be down at about the 12-yard line. That's a good punt for Jimmy Martin, with the usual punter being Michael Shaffis. So now it'll be Wheeling with a chance to potentially take the lead here in the third quarter.
Biggest drive of the game so far. Absolutely.
Big win for the Wheeling defense there.
Absolutely. Prospect was able to do a lot of good things, and the penalties and part of that, but still very good play.
Oh, wow. My goodness. Rolling Meadows apparently tried to just wrap it up, and there was a fumble. And then they returned the ball to the 2-yard line. And it was Ryan Justice to Casper Rutgowitz for a touchdown and a 2-pointer. So, that's a very aggressive play call from Matt Mishler. Very interesting decision there. It's 24-21 Meadows. Gain of 1 there for Wheeling. Clock is ticking. 4:07 left in the third quarter. I've been asked to speed the clock up. That's not going to happen, as there's a gain of a couple there. Gain of about 2. Adam Rice on the tackle. It's a 3rd and 7 here. And maybe Wheeling might punt for the second time of the night. Both teams just had their first punts on the last 2 drives.
Yeah, just incredible that we went through an entire half without any punts whatsoever.
That was not the case last week against Buffalo Grove. Neither for Wheeling the last case against Rolling Meadows.
Very, very tough game for that team. 42-0 in one half. That just hurts.
That's a stinger. I think the only benefit is 1 half. And Best is going to get a large chunk of yards. As he found space, and just you talked about his playmaking abilities. It was on full display right there.
Absolutely, just being able to be able to read the defense and just know where to go, and then seeing all of that green grass or turf in this case, just being able to find those spots.
I think every school in the MSL East has turf now. I think the last school that did it was actually Wheeling a couple years ago.
Yeah, 2011.
Yeah. And there is Ganaban. Needs to get a yard or 2. And this could get interesting. It could come down to who could have a chance to play a play-in game next week for the playoffs in 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. Who wins those last 12 minutes in that fourth quarter is going to be a huge key to determining who will stay alive and who will fight for pride next week.
Absolutely. Even though there's still another game next week for both these teams, this is just basically either live or die.
This is the first round of the playoffs, basically.
Absolutely.
Next week could be the second round of the playoffs for one of these teams. And here is Best, and he is still finding ways to stay up. And he'll get another 2 or 3. Michael Schaffis, the linebacker. He's been on the team 3 years. A lot of experience on both teams.
Absolutely,
especially on the offense, you have Best, Zedek. You also have Schaffis, who's been here for a while. You're going to have a couple guys on this year's team who are going to likely be here on this team 3 years.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's good that they still have these older guys on the receiving core, especially losing Quintero a couple of weeks ago to an ACL tear.
Yeah, it was too bad. That pass is going to be a perfectly thrown football by Daniel Provost. And let's hope he gets up all right. He's up. He's okay. And looks like he's hobbling a little bit there. But that's a big catch and another big wheeling first down. He's going to get a chance to rest. Whoever needs to be taken care of. But what a game he's had for this junior.
Absolutely. Just being able to step up in this varsity role and everything and just handle it.
Stepping up into this huge game as well. So now Wheeling is in Prospect territory. Now they have a chance to take the lead here. And it seems like the Prospect defense has been probably on the field a little too much tonight, as Best is going to get another few. That was our big key to the game heading into tonight. You got to keep them off the field. They spent the last 3 weeks, it feels like they spent so much time on the field that we haven't gotten a chance to see the offense. Well, of course, you have Hershey, Rolling Meadows, and Buffalo Grove. Those teams are going to have their offense on the field a lot, but I think that's something that was got to be focused on. Here's Panganaban, and he's going to get closer to the first down mark, about 3 or 4 yards away from it. Get to the 19 or 20-yard line.
And when you have your defense on the field so long, first off, it tires them out. And there are maybe a couple of guys who also play offense, but also it's very hard for your offense to get into a rhythm, get your quarterback in, get your running back in, and make sure they're playing well.
Now let's see what the discussion point is going to be for the Wheeling Wildcats here from Brian Huck. And Jonathan Panganaban has reached the century mark. He's got 17 rushes, 103 yards. He has had a good night tonight. There's Best, and get a yard, and I think it's going to be 4th down. Is this going to be 4-down territory here? I think so.
Absolutely. Even though Best is a pretty good kicker, you want to try and take the lead here.
Even though he's got a great leg, you want to use his arm. This is going to be a 4th down. I think you could see a QB sneak here. He's a big man.
Yep.
There you go. Flag down. That might make the options a little more limited. If they do, it's going to be an offside on Prospect, and no matter what, it's going to be a 1st down.
Yep.
Either way, and I think Wheeling will take this penalty and move up 5 yards.
Yeah, just got to make sure you keep track of that line of scrimmage. Make sure you know where you're at, and
That's the 11th penalty on the Prospect Knights tonight. And you've had anything from pass interferences to offsides, and it seems like just a 5-yard offside penalty might not seem like that's okay, but on a 4th down and 1, it's killer.
Yeah, you have to be very disciplined. Make sure you know what you're doing, and you just gotta play mentally smart.
I know Dan DeBuff does. I think he knows that there's going to be penalties, but can't overhave them. Best is going to throw into the back of the end zone. This is going to be, I think he's out of bounds. And it looks out of bounds. It was intended for Daniel Provost, number 81. He has a pair of touchdowns from Michael Best here tonight. He was looking for the trio.
A hat trick would have been nice.
Yep, I think he would have taken it. That'd be a game to remember for him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And fantastic coverage to force him out of bounds.
Yeah, absolutely. There is Best, and I think there's 3 or 4 Prospect defenders waiting for him, and that's going to end the 3rd quarter of play with Wheeling driving here. They are still down 24-20. What a 3rd quarter it was for the Wheeling Wildcats.
Absolutely. Making good offensive plays. Had the one One bad drive that led to the blocked pooch punt and a Prospect touchdown. But other than that, they controlled the ball for pretty much the entire quarter.
Now you get a chance to get that momentum. But it looks like Prospect had all of the momentum after that pooch kick. Then Wheeling just drive down the field. Hello. Then a punt from Prospect. Now it's one little pointage away, one little touchdown away. They have all the momentum here in the fourth quarter, and this is the make or break 12 minutes for both team seasons.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure the pressure is on all of these coaches right now.
Yeah, all the coaches, all the players, but just got to stay in the moment and realize what you got to do. And for Prospect defense, you just got to play stingy. Just stay in there, play stingy, and hope for them, hopefully keep Wheeling out of the end zone.
It's all about playing probably the most 12 minutes of complete football you have played all season. And I think that is probably the messages of both Dan DeBuff and Brian Huck.
Yeah, this is where all the training during the summer and early on in the fall comes in. At 110% effort to keep your season alive at this point.
Brian Huck very different compared to Dan DeBuff. Dan DeBuff went to Lamont High School. Now he's at Prospect. Brian Huck actually played at Wheeling. He played at Wheeling High School. Took this head coaching job last year. Was an assistant at Wheeling, a defensive coordinator, then an assistant under Matt Mishler at Rolling Meadows. This was his dream job as he is a human geography teacher, AP human geography teacher at Wheeling High School.
Yeah, from what I've heard, all the students love Coach Hauk.
Yeah, he's a very, very nice person. There's a pass, and there is going to be more laundry on the field as a very disappointed press box reacts.
It's just...
That's going to be, I think that's the fourth or fifth pass interference penalty of the night. That is a killer.
Yeah, just maybe a little questionable, but you gotta make sure you don't put yourself in that precarious situation. Just make sure you play discipline.
It's going to be a first and goal here for Wheeling with a chance now to take a 27-14 lead over Prospect.
Yeah, at this point, it's absolutely no doubt 4-down territory.
Actually, it's a 3rd and 5. The PI penalty will not give Wheeling a first down. And here he goes. There's Best. There's a throw. It's low. Incomplete with number 4, Joe Ezek on the coverage. That was probably the first low throw we've seen from Michael Best here tonight.
Yeah, right spot to throw it to in terms of the angle of where you want it to go, but just too close to the ground.
And now it is a Hersey lead over Rolling Meadows. That would be an extreme upset. This is going to be a 20-yard field goal from Michael Best. This will be his first field goal attempt of the night. He has made all of his extra points here tonight. This kick is tipped. It's good.
Good.
I'm not sure if it looks like it had got someone. Good effort there from the Prospect special teams to get a hand on it.
Absolutely. Prospect special teams has been all over the field making plays, helping their offense.
Now it is a 24-23 Prospect lead with 11:45 left. And now I think a big question for Dan DeBuff is if you score, do you go for a 2-point conversion and try and make this a 2-possession game?
I don't think so. Just because even if you just kick the extra point, you're still up 8. You force Wheeling to still go for a 2-point conversion and just put the pressure on them.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. But even then, if you miss any one of them, you're still up a touchdown and an extra point. So I think it's a good problem to have, though.
Absolutely.
For Dan DeBuff, like, hey, I'm down 7. I could be up 9, but I could also be up 8. They're still going to have to do more than they need to do.
Yeah, there's basically for Prospect is score, stop, and maybe another score to put this game away.
There's a Jordan Hansen. He's got 3 touchdowns on the night. That's a Hersey 28-24 lead.
At Meadows, just crazy.
And at Rolling Meadows, that place gets raucous. It just gets loud. very cold a couple weeks ago when I was there. They still came up. It was like 4 rows of students. My goodness.
Yeah.
They know how to pack a house there.
Yeah, Rolling Meadows really loves their team and everything.
And they have a lot of good reasons why.
Playing absolutely fantastic this season.
Seems like they're making the playoffs every year, and they likely will be hosting a home game in the playoffs. Another little squib kick, and it's a little squib there from Michael Sheffs on the return. And it's going to be at the 40-yard line, so an interesting decision there.
Yeah, absolutely.
This last 2 now that we've seen squib kicks here on the kickoffs from Wheeling.
Yeah, it's just, it makes sense. You're trying to get the ball back, but at this point in the game, you're trying to keep Prospect off the scoreboard.
Now they're
I would have kicked it deep.
Yeah, they're 10 yards. Now they're about 9 yards away from the 50-yard line, and all Prospect needs now is this drive. This drive could determine who's going to the playoffs right here.
Absolutely.
And let's see who takes advantage of this moment. Jimmy Martin is going to throw it. That pass is caught by number 15 Ryan Traviola. Out a lot last year due to a leg injury, along with Brian Doherty had a knee injury. The 2 guys out last year. They'll be back next year as well, as they are both juniors. Looks like that's Zardzin. Zardzin going to get a couple. It's going to bring up a huge. I think huge is just an understatement. This could be the play of the game right here.
Absolutely. This is where you impose your will on the offense, trying to run the ball.
There goes Jimmy. Let's see. I don't think he got it.
About a half yard short, I think.
This could be about the length of maybe the end of the football from a first down. It's going to be very, very close. And it's going to be 4th down. He did not get there.
Be very
Gain maybe about a half yard. Maybe be prepared to see another QB sneak here on 4th down. Yep, here it comes.
And
he's trying to reach. He got it. Yep. Second effort there from Jimmy Martin is going to give him a 1st down, and that reach definitely helped him in that case.
Yeah, good push by the offensive line to help him keep pushing up there and keep his legs churning.
Absolutely. Play calling has definitely been very aggressive here. Head coach Dan DeBuff, offensive coordinator Matt Weber. It's the Matt Weber Bowl, I think, today. Math teacher at Wheeling High School. Last year was on the football staff with head coach Brian Huck. This year he is wearing the other color shade of blue in our conference. Here's a pass that's dropped by Matt Meyer.
Usually sure-handed.
Yeah, he's got 2 gloves on, I think. I think now with the gloves, there's really no excuse to drop the football. Good coverage there, coming in late for the Wheeling Wildcats. Best looks like he's in coverage with number 15, Ryan Traviola. Actually, no, that's 33, Nick Mariani. And the running game will maybe get back to the line of scrimmage. And now it's another 3rd down here near the 50-yard line.
Yeah, this is the spot Wheeling defense wanted to get Prospect into, force them to throw down the field.
I think that's what Prospect might do. They might take a chance here on third and long.
And even if they don't get it, just kick it, punt it, and get Wheeling to drive the length of the field.
No bias there in that comment right there. That's okay. There's Martin, and his throw is wide. And this will be a decision for head coach Dan DeBuff. This could be, and they're going to bring out the punting unit.
Yeah, I think that's smart. You're still up in the game.
Don't even take a chance.
Now, you want to give Wheeling only 51 yards to go. You want them to go 80, 90-plus yards.
Now it's going to be the placement of the punt here from Michael Shaffis. And let's see how this ends. It's Daniel Provost who was going to return it. Now he heads to the sideline to get a cup of water. It's Brandon Zedek, number 32, who is going to be turning for Wheeling. Okay. And do we have a timeout on the field called by Wheeling? Brian Hawk called it right before it happened. A very interesting formation there.
Yeah, Prospect has a lot of interesting formations during this whole game.
Head coach Dan DeBuff loves his trickery.
think one two-point conversion called out in the monster formation. 3 linemen and everyone else split out wide to the sides. Just
That snap might have gone to Adam Mecki, which is been a very interesting. Let's see. And now Rolling Meadows has. The snap is to Brian Doherty. That was an interesting decision there. Rolling Meadows has now regained the lead against Hersey. Seems like they're just going to be back and forth until 12 o'clock tonight.
that should be a great ending to that game.
My goodness. Those are 2 teams that are likely going to be hosting playoff games come 2 weeks from tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As we mentioned, just good all-around teams, offense, defense, special teams, coaching, just fantastic programs.
I think if you would have asked anybody if the Hersey Huskies would be 8-1 right now, or if it could be 8-1, 9-0 even, they would have been saying, "What are you talking about?" Because I think they were predicted to be 4th in this conference behind Prospect, Buffalo Grove, and Rolling Meadows. But Buffalo Grove lost Trebe. He's out now. And this is a punt.
Good
And that is
punt.
a good punt. Brandon Zedek called a fair catch. I think that was not the usual punter, Michael Schaffis. That was Adam Mecki who punted it. A very interesting decision from head coach Dan DeBuff to send out a new punter, especially in a case like this. Yeah.
Well, considering it might have also been a soccer player, good idea to use his leg
Uses
strength.
the accuracy too.
Absolutely.
Michael Schaffis, it must have been a month ago now. There was a fumbled snap on a punt, and he took it about 50 yards. So it's been a very interesting. Very interesting decision there from head coach Dan DeBuff. Pays off definitely as Wheeling is is behind the 20-yard line.
See what they can do here on first down.
So Best is going to hand it off to Nganaban, and he is going to lose yards.
There is still a lot of time left in this game, but you got to start throwing it a little bit more. Even though you are down 1, you're too close.
9:19 left here in the 4th quarter. Brian Hawk took his first time out on what seemed to be, looked like a trick play a bit, but may have just been a snap to the different punter. And here is Panganaban, and he is going to get closer. He got hit pretty hard there.
Dirty laundry on the field.
Let's see. It's 3rd and 11, and this could be the play of Wheeling's season. And there is going to be penalty on Wheeling. Yeah. I think they're gonna accept it and put like a second and be half the distance. Be half the distance to the goal. Near probably about the 6-yard line. Close around there. Dan DeBuff needs to make a decision. He's being asked what he wants to do. What does he want to do? I think he is going to. He's going to accept it.
Yeah, you got to accept that penalty right there. Force them to go even further now, even though it is 2nd down.
You would have brought up if you declined it. You brought up a 3rd down at 3rd and about 11.
That's true, but you give your defense an opportunity to bring some more pressure and maybe even get a safety.
And Best will get it over. That's 24. He lost the football, but it was out of bounds.
Nice move by Roel Mata.
Oh, Mata, that's the first time we've called his name tonight.
He's more of a younger guy, so
A lot of young kids in this Wheeling program.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, their development is critical for head coach Brian Hawk.
Absolutely.
He usually calls the plays on defense. He has defense in his blood. So now it's a 3rd and 13 from the 9-yard line with 8:29 left in a 24-23 Prospect game. And Best is going to go deep. He's got a man open, and it is caught.
Oh, wow.
By number 81, Daniel Provost. My goodness. What a throw, what a catch, and what a job by Provost to hang out of the football. That is a huge first down for the Wildcats.
The play of the game for sure. Great separation to get open and just great hands and great control hitting the ground.
And he was open. He had a wide open path, and he made the catch, gets a huge first down on a 3rd and longer than 10. My goodness, that was an unbelievable catch.
Look like.
And Best is going to run. He's going to get to the outside and hit late. And where's going to be penalty? He was hit late, heading out of bounds. And Prospect is going to pay the price for that one.
Just another.
Just can't do that.
Nope. He might be frustrated a little bit, but you just got to keep it under wraps.
Yeah, you talked about Daniel Provost. 6 receptions, 97 yards, and a pair of touchdowns. Good. What a night for him.
Absolutely. Huge for this team. Way to fill in for, obviously, the injured Quintero.
And just think, if you get Zedek going, that is a tough duo to match up with. I think that's going to be key if Wheeling wants to take control of this football game. Get him going in some way. He's a big guy. He can make game-changing plays.
Absolutely.
Just in the snap of time.
Just trying to build that confidence over time.
8:04 left here in the 4th quarter of what may be, which is the decider of who will go to 4-4, and Ganovan gain a 4. It's going to be a 2nd and 6. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Buffalo Wild Wings in Mount Prospect, as well as Outback Steakhouse as well. Head on over there after the game. Maybe about 10:30 before this game ends. Who knows?
This has just been an absolutely great game.
It's been a fun game. And it looked like, after that little pooch kick, it looked like Prospect was heading in the direction like, hey, we could really, and then all of a sudden, Wheeling comes back, and they have just had the momentum, I think, since then, after that last touchdown drive they've had. And there's Panganovan. And this is going to bring up another 3rd down here for the Wildcats. Gain of about a yard. It's going to bring up a 3rd and about 6. 3rd and 7.
Good play by Prospect, limiting Panganovan, who has just been an absolute workhorse for this team tonight.
It's good to have him going. Last couple of years ago, you've had Jason Shannon running the football for Wheeling. He was a workhorse. It seems like that offense was really good with Jalen Dennis, T.J. Best, John Keppel. Last time the Wildcats made the playoffs with those guys. Brent Perlman was the head coach. He is now an assistant at Fremd. Best is going to throw, and there is the aforementioned Brandon Zedek. He is going to be very close. He's going to be basically at the marker. Let's see if, I think it's going to be a 4th down. I think he's going to be a little short.
4th and an inch.
4th and literally an inch. You thinking you're going to use Michael Best's height? Just reach over, let him just run the football, get a 1st down.
Absolutely. He's a 3-sport athlete, so a lot of athleticism, a lot of jumping ability.
His height is definitely going to help him here.
Yeah, great basketball player. Just working all that together.
We'll see him this year with the Wheeling Wildcats and head coach Mike O'Keefe and his company. There we go. They do not hand it to...
He's short.
And I think they...
Looks like they're giving them the spot.
I think they're going to give him the spot. Adam Mecki on the tackle, and it's going to be a 1st down for Wheeling, to the dismay of those supporting the home side.
Just great extra effort, even though he got tripped up trying to lunge for that pylon.
My goodness. It seems like when you'd think there can't be more drama. All the penalties, all the big plays from Wheeling and Prospect. There you go. It comes down to literally the reach of a person's arm.
Absolutely.
And Best to the outside. He will get back to the line of scrimmage. And a tackle late there. But that penalty of hitting him late out of bounds, that is going to probably be a killer for the Knights.
Yeah. We were talking about earlier, second-year coach Brian Haug. Seems a real big culture change to that entire program. And just
Yes,
being
he has. It is wonderful.
Because it was just a very different atmosphere with Brent Perlman, although expectations of obviously bringing Prospect to state championship and all those expectations. Feels like these guys here with Coach Hauke have been a little bit more free-flowing, a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah, I saw them last year at Wheeling. It was a very cold night, and it just felt like something was different. And I think that's a lot of credit to Coach Hauke. He's a great teacher, great mentor of people. But Brent Perlman, there's nothing to say wrong about him. He gave Prospect 3 state championships, brought Wheeling back to the playoffs. I think he was a great football coach as well.
Absolutely.
That last touchdown was a throw from Gleniuk to Charlie Svoboda on a 27-yard catch. And Best is going to go outside the pocket here on a 3rd down. He's got time. He's got a lot of space. There's Brandon Zedek. Is that pass caught? It is. Oh, my. Brandon Zedek made that catch, and that is going to put Wheeling with the 1st and goal. What a throw with pressure, and Brandon Zedek found a way to come down with that football.
He was absolutely draped over, just in a fantastic athletic effort from Brandon Zedek.
Great coverage, even better catch from Zedek, and Michael Best just made a great throw. Under pressure.
Stop short. 2nd and goal.
My, oh my. And now Wheeling, you can just take a lot of time off the clock now. Just try and get this in the end zone.
Yeah, definitely. The ball is in their court and being able to continue to try and control this game at this point.
The winner of this game will move to 500, 4-4, with a chance to potentially make the playoffs with their match next week. Wheeling will play Hersey at Roland Goins Stadium. And Prospect will take on Elk Grove right here at George Gass Memorial Stadium. We hope to see you next week. Best is going to throw. He's under pressure. He's going to be great defense from Zach Zai. Zach Zai's got used all that height to his advantage. Our guest on Prospect Football Weekly. What a play there. That prevented a touchdown. And now, if you're Wheeling, is this a touchdown, or do you just try and get for the lead? I think you got to try for the lead and field goal here if they don't get a touchdown.
Yeah, you just want to
get the lead.
Get that pressure off of like, oh, we're down. You just want to get that pressure out of the way, get the lead, and just this defense has played well in the 2nd half, so just trust the defense.
Trust the defense. Trust what Brian Hawk is going to do. There's a throw. That pass is caught. It's a touchdown. It's Brandon Zedek from Michael Best, and my goodness. And the Wheeling Wildcats have taken a 29-24 lead with 3:49 left. I would assume they would kick the extra point, but who knows? They could make this a 7-point game. So it's going to be up to the Prospect offense with 3:49 left in the 4th quarter to keep their season alive.
Yeah, great route run by Zedek, and a great throw in the perfect spot for only Zedek can get it or gets it complete. Just great play.
And now it's as the excitement of the Wheeling crowd is in full swing. I see some people who are not wearing shirts. It is a very cold night. That kick is good, and it's now a 30-24 game with 3:49 left. Prospect has 3 timeouts left, not 3 touchdowns left, even though I'm sure they would accept that they have 3 touchdowns left. But this is going to be the drive that determines whether Prospect is going to go into Elk Grove next week saying, we win and we're in.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan DeBuff is probably telling them this is our drive. This is our time to
just keep. I know you're excited, but you got to calm down. You got to calm down. I know. And just what a 2nd half from the Wheeling Wildcats.
Absolutely.
What a game from Michael Best. That's just 3 touchdown passes. I think he's been the difference tonight. Just making those plays.
And it's been a long time, at least at Wheeling, that we've had a quarterback who's been able to make those kind of throws.
I think the last one was probably like one of the Dennis brothers, Amani or Jalen. Both of them, they could make plays at will. It seemed like.
Yeah, but it's just Jalen was a great player, great being able to dual threat quarterback, but he had a few accuracy issues, and I would see him. And
yeah,
Best is seen to be able to.
He's found that accuracy. I think he's. I think what does Rolling Meadows and Hersey have on us? This is as close of a game as it is.
Absolutely, totally.
Both those teams are in the playoffs.
Absolutely, but this game adds the excitement of just like watching NFL playoff game. You win and you're in.
You're out. On. You're out. If you lose, you're play for pride next week.
Absolutely.
And now it's up to Prospect. And let's see what happens. They kick it deep this time. This return is from Noah Marks. And Marks from the 18. He's going to get past the 30. So that's where Jimmy Martin and this offense will head on for the drive of the season. Everything's on the line. And let's see who is going to come up big and for which team.
This is the time where you have your big-time players make big-time plays and just work it. You still have 3:43, 3 timeouts. There's not there is pressure, but there's not that time crunch.
It's not like you got to hurry up to the line every play.
Yeah,
now you can have some creativity. Jimmy's going to go on a QB draw, and he's going to get a gain of about 2. And you would think they'd have to start passing pretty soon on this drive.
Absolutely. I'd say with about the 3-minute mark,
You
start
really just
airing it out.
Yeah. But you don't want to be running too much and have to air it out now on a 3rd down.
Right.
And they are going to hand it off to Shaffis. He makes explosive plays, but now it's going to be a 3rd down. And now you got to throw here on 3rd down, you would think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just seems like this second half, it's been a little bit of a struggle for Shaffis. So, and part of that.
I get that, but this determines your season. And let's see what they do on a 3rd down. This is the biggest play of the game, and they're going to run it. Shaffis is going to be short, and this is the play of the Prospect high school football season. And we will see. This is going to be about a 4th and a long yard. This is going to be the longest yard Prospect gets all year. If Jimmy is going to run on the outside, he's going to get the first down. That is a huge 4th down conversion. 4th down conversions have been big tonight, with Wheeling converting a lot of them. Prospect getting the most important one here on a 4th down with their season on the line with 2:24 left in the 4th quarter. It is a 30-24 Wheeling lead here at George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. This is a handoff to Michael Shaffis. Shaffis gains about 3 or 4, and he gets into Wheeling territory. Dan DeBuff has 3 timeouts at his arsenal left with 2:12 left.
Yeah, big play on 4th down. Just putting in the hands of your most trusted player and just letting him go to work and get that first down.
Prospect needs the end zone here on this drive. They can't settle for anything less. They're going to hand it off again. Here's Shaffis. Shaffis is going to get to the 46, gain of about 3. It's going to be a 3rd down. There've been a lot of runs on this drive. Dan DeBuff is using the clock to the most of his advantage.
Yeah, he's thinking in both ways. You got to hurry up. We also got to make sure if you
Wheeling
do
doesn't
score,
absolutely. Wheeling doesn't. You don't want Michael Best having the ball, and Jimmy is going to sneak around. Let's see. I think he's going to. He's right there. He's close. I think they're going to give it to him. The line judge is.
They
It's
got
going to be
it.
a first down. It's going to be a huge first down. 1:29 left. It's a 1st and 10 for the 43. Now you got to start. You think you start being aggressive here and start throwing the ball.
Not quite. You still got 3 timeouts and everything, so keep what's working.
And here we go. Here is Martin. Martin's pass. It's going to be caught by Matt Meyer, number 88. They're going up tempo. They're hurrying to the line. And let's see what Dan DeBuff is calling. 1:20 left. Clock is moving. Martin is going to hand it off here to Shaffis. Shaffis is going to be brought down at about the 31-yard line. He is down by contact. Ball came out at the end, and Dan DeBuff will use his first timeout of the night. Wow.
This game has been absolutely crazy, and it just seems perfect that this game will come down to the wire. And
this will come down to who makes that play. That's it. And
everyone on both sides, defense and offense, just have to step up and go out there and say, hey, I got to make a play for my team at this point.
You're playing to have a have a game next week where you're in the playoffs if you win next week. And obviously a win with Hersey next week for Wheeling, that'd be a pretty strong resume, taking down an 8-1 Husky team, 8-1, 9-0 Husky team potentially. We will see. 1:10 left in the 4th quarter. Jackson Gross Wyatt two-track from George Gaddis Memorial Stadium. There might not have been a larger crowd, but it's still pretty loud because they know this drive is going to determine who's going to win this football game.
Yeah. credit to the fans coming out in this cold weather supporting both sides, obviously, and just great support for both teams.
Do you even think about going down the field here, deep down the field here?
I'd take a shot.
I think you got to take at least one shot.
On 2nd down and 7, but
I think they're going to give it to Zards in here. We'll see. Nope. They're going to give it on a QB draw to Martin. And Martin is going to get close to another first down. Dan DeBuff's got to start thinking about using his timeouts. He's under a minute left.
Yeah, he's holding on to
clock's moving. He's got 2 timeouts left. It's a 3rd and 1. You would think, and this is going to be a carry for Zards, and he's going to go to the outside. Zardson is going to be brought down. That's a first down.
Inbounds.
46.9 seconds left. The clock will be moving on the snap. Clock will be moving in just a second once everyone gets lined up. 46.9. Fourth quarter, 30 for Wheeling, 24 Prospect. The clock is moving.
Another handoff.
44 seconds. Here's Zardson. Zardson's got an opening. Luke Zardson is going to get to the 5-yard line. A huge gain there. And that is going to bring Prospect to the 5-yard line. Now do you just run it and just try and hold Wheeling? They don't want Wheeling to take the field. 2 timeouts left. And a timeout's going to be called by Brian Houck. They want to talk about what they got to do here.
Yeah, perfect time to call a timeout. Get those guys a little bit of rest and everything. They've just been hard running by Prospect and just being able to cut through defensive line. Great job by the offensive line of Prospect making those holes.
First week of the season, I saw a large, it looked like everyone was just coming toward the middle of the field. It was after the victory against St. Vi. There was so much talk from both sides all week, and it was just a mad rush onto the field. Maybe that might happen there as the students from Wheeling are now heading toward the fence. They want to see their guys move on next week with a chance to make the playoffs.
And
I think we're going to see a mad rush onto the field
regardless.
Whoever's winning, there's going to be a large group outing on the field.
See what they do.
And let's see what they do here. Wheeling only has 1 timeout left. Jimmy's going to hand it off. Here's Shaffis. Shaffis is going to be a little short. Clock's going to stop with 30.8 left. And a timeout will be taken by Dan DeBuff. And let's see what they do here in the goal line. This is going to be the probably longest 5 yards Prospect will have all year.
Absolutely. Just keep working that run. Wheeling's defense has not been able to get in the backfield like they were earlier in the fourth quarter. So just keep pounding it at this point. But on the Wheeling side, got to play discipline in your lanes, fill in the gaps, and just play more discipline, get in there.
And Michael Shaffis, I think, has his new high for the season in rushes with 15. He's got 145 yards and had that touchdown as well. My goodness. He has been a starter, and who better to score a touchdown that could set up a match game with Elk Grove next week than a man who has been on the varsity team for 3 seasons.
Absolutely. Just a perfect storybook ending, if you will.
Everybody's up. Everybody's excited. Here we go. This is a 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. We just had a Pete Carroll reference in the press box. We'll see. Martin is going to run it. Martin is going to get to the outside. Pylon touchdown, Prospect! He got the pylon at the end, and Jimmy Martin, where there is so much family history with Prospect football, just might have scored the touchdown that could help Prospect set up a game with Elk Grove next week to make the playoffs.
Just a fantastic run out and everything. Good blocking. And nice effort by Wheeling trying to get him down, but just that extra oomph.
I think the emotion inside him is just unbelievable. His father, Jim, was also a high school quarterback for this very high school. And let's see. Tony Santangelo is going to, and I'm sure they're going to ice the kicker.
This is the biggest extra point
of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think this is. And we talked about this earlier. Why didn't what, you think Wheeling? Very interesting decision. Wheeling going for 2 here on the last play. They made it a 6-point game. Would you even thought of going for 2?
I think he would have, just so.
Is that a decision you think Brian Houck's going to regret?
I think so, especially unless they can block this extra point. I think he will, just because you've been doing so well with your offensive players. Let them go to work and do what they need to do and try and win you the game. Even if you don't get it, it's not a case of, oh, we didn't try. It's more of a case of we didn't do it, but we tried.
Well, one of these football teams is going to end up being the loser, and I don't think that doesn't take any credit to whoever's playing tonight. They have both played phenomenal football. I am not surprised it has come down to the final drive of this football game, and now Tony Santangelo will try and send Prospect to a game against Elk Grove with a chance to make the playoffs for the first time since 2012. Santangelo missed an extra point earlier. Kick, hold down, kick up. It is off the upright.
No good.
It's no good. And we are going to be playing more football tonight. And now it is going to come down to a little more. Just when you thought.
This game has been absolutely crazy. Just the total emotion and the total just absolute effort from both sides and being able to get to where this game is. And now a missed extra point sending us most likely to overtime.
To determine who's going to play to it cannot get much better than that.
What could be better?
What could be better? Besides a Rolling Meadows 38-28 lead over Hersey now, with 2:11 to play, it looks like Rolling Meadows is going to go to 8-0 with a potential 9-0 matchup next week against Buffalo Grove. That's a good football game. But it looks like Rolling Meadows could be undefeated.
Great credit to them for
what a season
putting
they've had.
Hersey away.
Tim Sislak, who has just eaten teams alive with his strength and the yardage he's carried this year. My goodness. I'm actually taller than he is, and he just looks like a human being. And this is an interesting decision here. And Wheeling's got to just land on the football. They don't want Prospect even getting it. Now with 25.6 seconds left, one shot can get Wheeling into field goal range, and with the arm of Michael Best, it can be done.
Yeah, the arm and the leg if they get in the field goal range, but I do like the call of going for an onside kick, trying to get the ball back, but now, unfortunately that you didn't get it, you set up Wheeling in pretty good field position.
39-yard line with 25.6 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Y2 Trick Jackson Gross. What a football game we've had here at George Gaddis Memorial Stadium, to say the least.
Absolutely.
That's a great football game, might be an understatement.
Absolutely. This is one of those games where you absolutely hate for one of these teams to lose because they have just put everything on the field.
But sadly, one of these teams is going to be the loser tonight. Best is going to throw, no surprise here. He's going to go down the field. That pass is incomplete for Zedek. And there's going to be no penalties on the field.
Wow.
Looks like he got hit right before he caught it. Even had a chance to catch it. Now with 19.1 seconds left in the fourth quarter.
A very interesting no call. Earlier in the game, that probably would have been called, and similar stuff was called, but at this point, you let him play.
At this point, the only call an official has to make is if it's absolutely obvious. They're going to let these guys play and sort it out amongst themselves. Best is going to throw it again. He's outside the pocket. He's going to throw. There's Zedek again. This time he's got it, and he's got a first down with 14.3 seconds left. You're going to have about one shot to get to to get into field goal range. Michael Best, you talked about, has a good leg.
And just smart play there by both. Great play call to get Best out of the pocket and just find a wide open receiver, and great job by Zedek catching the ball inbounds and then quickly stepping out.
Wheeling is out of timeouts. Prospect has one left. 14.3 left. They are at the 49 of Prospect. And Michael Best is going to throw it. You got to go a little farther than that, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Zedek. Now 9.6. You're just throwing for the end zone here.
Absolutely. Trying to get as far as down the field as possible, and if you land in bounds, quickly spike it.
I think 9 seconds. I think that's enough. And looks like the Prospect Knights are in a triangle formation with looks like there's 3 guys back.
Not surprised at all.
They're getting the hands team out there. They're just making sure they don't want this to end up as a Hail Mary win for Wheeling.
Yeah, they don't want Michael Best pulling his best Aaron Rodgers impersonation at this point.
Too bad we're not under a dome like they were at Ford Field on that cold night. There's a pass. It's going to be overthrown. And now 4.6 seconds left, and now they're going to have one more chance at it. I think now the offensive line is going to be proving critical here because you got to give them time to heave it to the end zone.
Absolutely.
Sure Best is going to get outside the pocket here and try and make something happen,
Absolutely.
then plant, and then throw down the field.
Get that offensive line moving. Get the offensive line to move the defensive line away from Best and try and fake him out a little bit and just try and heave it down. Wouldn't be surprised if it's rolled out to Provost's side.
Yeah, we'll see. This would be the first overtime game of the season. And Best is going to go outside the pocket. He's got to wait. He's trying to find something. He breaks away from Mihov. He's got to throw it deep into the end zone. It's going to be short.
Not even close.
It's going to be short. It's going to be passed. It's going to be picked off. It's going to be down.
Triple
and
zeros.
that's going to put the zeros on the clock. And we are going to extra time tonight. My goodness, what a night. If you weren't here, I recommend you call your friends, get somebody here because one of these teams is going to set up a chance to make the playoffs.
Absolutely, and if you can't get here, obviously, come watch here on YouTube. It's just absolutely fantastic.
You can be warm with us.
Absolutely.
These fans are cold. These fans are very cold tonight. It is a 3-minute overtime resting period before we get started, and I think both teams need it.
Absolutely. All teams have just played their heart out, and now for both teams, you got to resurge, get that energy back in, keep that same intensity you've had through the entire game.
Wheeling had a 30-24 lead on the last Prospect drive. Prospect scored on a Jimmy Martin run. And then a missed extra point from Tony Santangelo kept the score at 30-all. And now it is going to come down to an overtime period to see who will have their season continue to live into next week. The buses are ready. I don't think they're going to be ready for a while because there is going to be a lot of people on the field no matter from what side.
Yeah, and whoever loses, do not feel bad about yourselves. You put everything into this game, and absolutely both teams have done a great job keeping everything on the field, making sure just play their hearts out.
And now everything becomes so critical. Every little thing, it doesn't matter. Every little run becomes critical. Got to get like 5 or 6 yards on every play. I think that's going to be a big factor. Who's going to have the advantage on the early downs? That's who's going to win this football game.
Absolutely, and just making sure both lines play well on both sides.
No mental mistakes. You gotta keep your cool because this is as high pressure as it gets.
And you gotta keep it under wraps. This may be the most important game of the season, but
this might be the most important game of their lives so far.
Absolutely, and it really shows on the field how much they care. Just that they put everything in their entire, however long they've been on this team. It just shows on the field and how much both teams want this.
This has been an absolute roller coaster, to say the least. It is just, there have been so many ups, so many downs for both sidelines, and I'm sure it has gotten the heart rate of one Brian Hauk and Dan DeBuff to a level what might be unhealthy.
Yeah, it's just crazy play after crazy play throughout this game, and
captains are going to come out. We're going to have a coin toss here.
Yep.
As we're going to begin this overtime period. Michael Schaffis, a 3-year man on the varsity roster, will walk with Dan DeBuff. I would assume Michael Best would walk out with Brian Hauk. And he does. What a football game.
Absolutely. Just play after play after play. Just fantastic high school football we've seen here tonight.
And it is a late night here, 10:16 Central. We've been here almost 3 hours, and I think It has been 3 hours of absolute fun. I think the reaction of whoever wins this coin toss will be evident.
Yep.
That's there. My goodness. So gonna go over some ground rules here. Coin is flipped.
Looks like Wheeling has won the toss.
Yeah, I think, yeah. What a football game. They're going to turn their backs. I think Wheeling's going to get the football to start it off here. I don't think so. We'll see. I think it's going to be, yep, it's going to be Wheeling to start to start this overtime period. Here we go. What else is going to happen?
Who knows?
There's still a whole nother story to be written here in this overtime period. It's the Prospect defense coming out for the Knights and the Wheeling offense. It is up to an overtime period. And Brian Hauk and his staff trying to get Wheeling to 4-4 and a matchup with the Huskies next week.
Huge game next week.
Huge game next week
from
from one of these teams the next week, and then for the other team, it's about playing for pride, maybe trying to spoil an 7-1 Hersey team.
Absolutely, and ever since both these high schools have come in, they've just been fierce rivals. So regardless of what this game,
the Brent Perlman Bowl for a while.
Absolutely.
Perlman won 3 state championships here at Prospect High School. Left to coach here at Wheeling. That almost a fumbled snap, and the Prospect defense is going to take advantage of that. A loss on the play there.
And just
got to hold on to those footballs. I think
that was a smart play. Just give it off. Make sure you hold on to it. Just got to get a better snap.
Give it off or just get down. Just get down and move on to the next play.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
It is a cold, cold, cold night here at George Gaddis Memorial Stadium.
I think I can speak for everyone up here in the press box. We are very grateful to be up here in the press box.
I think so too. I feel, and in the motion, number 22 is a flag down. Play's going to be blown dead, and there's going to be it's going to be an offside against Prospect.
That's huge. That moves the ball much closer for Wheeling.
Absolutely.
Trying to take advantage.
Yeah. Penalties, I think, have been an understatement of how important they've been. It is a 38-degree night. It is against Wheeling. Might have. All right, old switcheroo there.
Full trickery throughout this game. Why not from the refs?
Why not? Yeah, we've seen trickery from Prospect. We've seen trickery from Wheeling. Officials, what's next? Coaches? Fans? Who knows? Now that's going to bring Wheeling back to about the 17-yard line. They'll bring up a second and goal. And now you would think Wheeling would go deep down the field here. Maybe not. Oh, a pitch. Option and a pitch, and Prospect defense says hello. And the Knights will bring him back to maybe the line of scrimmage.
Great play, just knowing what the play is and reading it easily and just being able to know what to do. And that's how you got to tackle Panganiban. Even though he's a small guy, you got to gang tackle him. Make sure you get him to the ground because he can break out of some piles.
Periscope, get it ready. There's a timeout taken on the field. I know. I know. There's gonna be a rally on the field. It's be a disaster.
Number 2 delivery.
A lot of spelling errors.
Yeah, don't read page 1.
Don't read front headline.
So it is a 30-all game.
Right here in overtime.
My goodness. I think this has just been drive after drive where it just seems like there's been plays that could determine the season, and they just find ways to make it happen.
Absolutely.
You talk about the penalty that Michael Best took heading out of bounds. That was huge.
2 pass interference penalties late in the first half.
It just seems like there's always been a variable that just changes in how this game has turned out. And now we're in an overtime. Who would have thought we'd end this night in an overtime period?
Absolutely
In
perfect way.
in a cold weather 30-30 game. Don't see those very often. But it's a 3rd and 17. Wheeling's got to score to 2. And here he goes. Best is going to throw. He's hit. As he throws, that pass somehow caught.
Wow.
By Brandon Zedek. He has had two of the most improbable catches you can see.
2 defenders around. When I first saw it, I thought it was easily intercepted, but just a great play to rip the ball away.
2 guys on him, and Michael Best has made it seems like a lot. They're going for a field goal here.
I think that's a smart play. Try and get your
Just
points
get
and then
points.
continue to trust that defense. I know they struggled on that last drive, but
Here we go. Michael Best kick is good. And now Wheeling has points here in the overtime period. It's 33-30.
And now it takes 4 plays.
And now it's down to Prospect. Stay tuned for our Outback Player of the Game. At the conclusion of tonight's game, there are so many candidates from both sides that
Absolutely.
you can't just wait. We might have to wait until the very end of the football game to determine who's going to win this award.
Absolutely. Both sides, all receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, everyone, defense, just a full team effort from both sides to try and get this done.
Absolutely. Here you go. Here is a keeper from Martin. He's going to get halfway there. Or nearly halfway there. And he's still chugging. He's going to get to about the 6. And now Schaffis comes in for Noah Marks.
Nice run, easy draw, great push and support from the offensive line and the other offensive players to keep getting those yards.
Here he goes. There's Schaffis. Schaffis finding space. And he's going to be very close to the goal line. And now the next 2 plays. And this place is about to get wild.
It just might explode.
I'm just hoping it doesn't explode. Here we go. Michael Schaffis is in the backfield with Jimmy Martin in the shotgun. Martin handing off. Schaffis is across the goal line. Touchdown, Prospect! And Prospect is going to have a game next week against Elk Grove to determine whether they meet the state playoffs. What a football game. 36-33, and the Prospect Knights will take down the Wheeling Wildcats. Our Outback Player of the game, I think it's got to be Michael Schaffis.
Absolutely. Great overall effort throughout this game, and what a way to end it.
What a fun night.
Who else could?
Who else? For Jackson Gross, YA2 Truck, what a night it's been for George Gaddis. I'll see you next week for the decider against Elk Grove.